Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Rigucci, and here with a few friends from the Delaware County area, we get in the basement and we talk about a certain topic. Today's topic is the games that made us. And who is us? In fact, of course, I introduced myself just a second ago, but if you don't know him, to my left, the triple threat, Chris Trio.
Gooch, I am very excited to be here to talk about some of the games that, in fact, made us.
Delco Nerd Network, episode 99.
It's crazy. 100 coming up on the horizon. But I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, Gooch?
I'm doing good because I'm about to make a big announcement. We're doing something special for our 100th episode of Delco Nerd Network in March of 2024. So we thought about, like, hey, how can we do the episode 100 of the DNN podcast differently? And you're probably thinking, like, well, aren't you well over 100? We technically are
100%. Yeah.
But it's 100 episods of like this
podcast
proper, not like the hot take, rewind, review, re3 stuff. They're
correct.
Separate.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be doing that we're going to be doing some reaction content.
First of the kind on the channel.
Yeah. Probably like a one and done.
For sure.
We probably won't do this. I mean, I don't know what we redo this to.
Yeah.
But we're going to be. I still have the first ever pieces of content me and Trio ever made when we were in high school. So if I had to guess 2010 or 2011, I'll know once I'm looking at the videos. But we watched or we played together Amnesia custom maps on when Amnesia was hot. We played like the modded player-made maps, and we recorded like 2 or 3 of them. So we're going to be watching those and reacting to them, and I have a funny feeling it's going to be absolutely hysterical.
It's going to make me cringe a little bit.
It's going to be cringy as hell, but I think it's going to be like absolutely hysterical. We won't be recording this live. We're going to do it in, just on a day, and then it'll come out. We don't have a timeline for it yet, and then the second half of the podcast, we'll be doing like an all around Q&A, like whatever anyone wants to ask us, we'll do a form and we'll talk about it. So it'll be a pretty loosey-goosey kind of fun thing. But I realized I still had those, and I was like, I'm curious if Trio even like remembers these. Like I remember recording them, but they're
I have vague memories of it.
They're probably funny. But again, first pieces of content we ever did together, because I was doing like Let's Play YouTube at the time, so that was what it was for. So it's going to be interesting and it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well. You brought this to me, I should say, for an idea, and I thought it was a good one, because we've talked about it before. We brought it up, but it is weird to think back. 2010 was when Amnesia came out. So yeah, probably 2011-ish was when we recorded that. Yeah. Fun stuff, Gooch.
Yeah. And we also have the Dune 1984.
The David Lynch himself.
I was going to say
Dune.
the 1984 cut, like the David Lynch cut of Dune 1984. That's going to be releasing on February 26th in anticipation for part 2.
Absolutely.
Which we'll be seeing and reviewing as well. IMAX, which is going to be
7:30.
Fun.
March 2nd. Can't wait. I'm excited, Gooch.
Yeah,
I just started Dune Messiah again because I got halfway through it last year, got out of it, or just fell off with it, and now I'm finally really trying to get through it.
We're gonna rewatch part 1, which I'm looking forward to as well. I feel like I have a much better grasp on the world of Arrakis better than I did
the Imperium,
when I watched that first
if
one.
you will. Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited, man.
And then, I think Madam Web is probably the only other hot take we'll do this month. There's some games coming out, and we'll get to them in the coming weeks, most likely. But, pretty low-key month. And January actually ended up being kind of not a lot, but like more than I thought it was going to be.
Absolutely.
So we were anticipating like a down month. It's fine. It's going to happen.
More content for you all.
Yeah. And I'm being forced to see Madam Web, by the way. I totally glossed over that. That is not. I actually was like, Trio, can we not? And then Trio was like,
nope,
we have to see it. So I'm being forced against my will to.
It would be so funny if we walked out of that and you were like, whoa. It was good.
Oh my god.
Poor Dakota Johnson.
Dakota Johnson. That TikTok. I don't know who did that article when asked her about the spiders killing her family or whatever.
The terrible line.
Yeah. And I'm just like, why ask her that?
It's just such a weird. It
Like
doesn't.
you asked it so sincerely
Yeah.
that I think like your joke didn't like come off
No.
the way it needed to.
And the way
'Cause,
she like
didn't
explains
laugh.
it was like weird. She's like, I think it's a fun. Like I feel like she definitely knows about that and heard about the joke.
You
but
think? Like I
yeah.
don't know.
I don't know, man. The
Some
way
people
she
are
left
really
her,
in the dark about that.
she like left her agency after the first trailer for this premiered, and like I think a lot of I think they were tricked. Genuinely, they thought this was going to be an MCU movie, and like they're just now finding out on the press
Are
tour.
we gonna get a bunch of articles the week
Well,
the movie
dude,
comes out about this?
I saw one post when all of them posted about it back when it was first announced. They tagged Marvel Studios because I think they thought that they were in the MCU, and now they're in 2003 wherever. I'm sorry. We have to. This is
2024.
This is our
You
civic
were
duty.
21 years off from that date. You're now 2003.
It's wild.
Stone 24.
It's insane. It's our civic duty, Gooch. We have to go see Madam Web. Thank you for pushing through. It's gonna be fun. Fun to just shit on.
I make.
You know, it's gonna be the worst
sacrifices.
thing actually if it's just blah. Like I want it to
Like, you want it to be
I want it to be
trash?
trash. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I want it to be like.
I hope it's not an
wildly
Aquaman
insane.
case when we're both like on the other side of the fence. Like I hope we very much agree. With
I like
that
because if
movie's
it's just
trash.
like then I'm gonna be even more annoyed. Anywho,
So before we like to get into our topic of the podcast, we usually talk about what we're playing, what we're doing, that sort of thing. Trio, you want to start us off?
sure, why not, Gooch? Yeah, let's do it.
Go for it. What are you up
Movies
to?
and TVs wise, not much. I mean, we did a podcast relatively recently, so not much has come by. Percy Jackson finished up, which I thought was thoroughly enjoyable. I know nothing about that series, knew nothing about the books, I never saw the movies, and I found it to be a great watch. So that's one I would highly recommend on Disney Plus. It's nice to see them get like another series going that's kind of outside the realm of Marvel and Disney.
Your foot,
Yeah,
geez.
sorry.
You were really
I'm
over.
yeah, I am.
You
I
were
was
reaching,
extending,
buddy.
pal.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's really it. Movies and TVs wise. I saw a stupid horror movie last night. Where evil lurks. It was like
Why do
actually,
you even bother?
because we were. It's it's when we're all hanging
Get
out.
your Oscar movies in.
Oh no, I know, but like trying to convince the rest of the group to watch that.
Right.
Something like that is
I'm
tough.
good. I think I'm gonna watch the holdovers next weekend.
Dude, definitely. I think that's one you definitely
I'm like
got to put
gearing
on your
up
list.
for the DNNs, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Trio watch the holdovers. I should probably watch the holdovers.
It's very
too.
good,
especially
yeah.
since it got nominated for stuff as well. I'm gonna have to figure out what else to parse through. But
Thoroughly enjoyed it, yeah. But as far as games go, not a ton. I finished Terminator Resistance finally. It wrapped up really well, actually.
okay,
I felt like there was kind of some weird progression mechanics where like the Terminators really felt like they were always fucking you up.
so where in the universe is it taking
It's
place?
set before the first Terminators are sent back. It's set at the end of the war. So you know how Kyle Reese comes back in the second movie and he's like, we had an attack on the stronghold, and before we got there, they sent Terminators out. Like, and I was sent back. It basically leads up to that event. And you find out that you're one of the three people marked for termination, one of them being John Connor in the past as a child during the second movie, the other one being Sarah Connor.
Does Eddie Furlong return?
No, you don't see anything in the present day. I was surprised you saw even John Connor himself, and they use like the original. You see him for like 1 second, I think,
As a kid?
No, as like an adult in Terminator 1 or 2.
So
it like
is it, like,
flashes to the
Christian
future.
Bale?
No, because in the old movies they show him for like a second. It's like the guy from, you see him for like a minute. He has like this crackly scar and he looks at the camera. They modeled him off of that, which I thought was cool.
Okay.
The gunplay's fun. I thought the story ended satisfyingly enough. A lot of choice-based stuff, kind of like RoboCop, actually, where like you have these kind of side characters that you can either do their side missions for or not, and they either trust you or they don't by the end of the game, and you got to kind of convince them to leave this compound because you know it's going to be attacked by Terminators for a certain reason. Lots of time travel involved.
Of course.
Cool things. It really feels like it's emulating like those original movies specifically. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it to anyone that's a fan of Terminator, and if you can get it for cheap.
And from the dev who did Rogue City.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
RoboCop.
They seem to know what they're doing. I could see them doing like a star, like another one of these types of games, like a Starship Trooper
They seem
one.
to have like a niche.
They do. They're like exploring all these 80s properties.
I guess it's at this point, it's what they can get their hands on.
Yeah, it's
like
probably
imagine
not
if
too
they did
terribly
like
hard. Yeah.
like I mean, we've had some bad Aliens games.
Sure.
But Alien.
No, I think that's one they could get. Yeah,
we never got a sequel. I was gonna say a sequelation, a sequel to Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
And I doubt it's gonna happen. I think Creative Assembly has pretty much moved on.
It seems the way. Yeah.
So yeah, but like again, we have Colonial Marines, which was like a dumpster fire.
Dude,
so.
there's so many ways I think they could go. I mean, I could see them doing even like a follow-up RoboCop game if they really wanted to, because that did really well. They just released a new game plus for it. I think we talked about it a week or two ago. But now I have also, besides that, moved on to Arkham City. Excuse me, Arkham City, which, God, that game still is fucking fantastic. I finished up Arkham Asylum, got all the trophies, felt really good. Didn't take me that long, except for the last 2 challenges. Those were probably the hardest. City, I'm going after the trophies for. It doesn't seem too wild. I need to just do New Game Plus. The worst part seems to be the challenges, just because there's so many more, but they actually seem to be easier than Arkham Asylum's. It is so interesting how slightly different the combat systems are. They just open it up so much more in the second one, because in Asylum you can only use as like gadgets, basically quick fire stuff, as your grapple and batarangs. That's all you have. And like the countering is slightly different, but it's still, basically the same. Otherwise though, Arkham City, man, Gooch, if we could do a rewind review for those in the future someday,
I mean, it would only make sense.
I think it would be fantastic. I really do. I would love to go back and really kind of thoroughly explore these games. But I just kind of booted up GTA 4 again. I kind of got halfway through a playthrough like a year or two ago. I was kind of half in it. But I really wanted to get back and really kind of dive in and play it fully through again, because that game really is fantastic. There's just a vibe to Liberty City that's, I don't know. It's hard to explain it. It's just, it's kind of dreary. Everything's gray. But it really that game has such a singular personality, and I thoroughly enjoy playing it. The story is definitely probably one of my favorites. Do you know anything about the Grand Theft Auto 4 story?
Nico Bellic is from Russia,
like Eastern Europe. It says,
yeah, and I know he works for the mob.
Yeah, a lot of mafia stuff.
I know about his cousin and the bowling.
Bowling, of course. Yeah.
I know about the hot coffee achievement because of the hot coffee mod from San Andreas. That's about it.
That's about it. No, you got the basics for sure. Yeah, you're Nico Bellic immigrating to the U.S. and you're just doing some bad things to make some money and find a guy. It's a good old fashioned tale of revenge in a lot of ways.
Okay.
But yeah, man, if no one's ever played GTA 4, it's definitely aged in certain ways.
And that was they had Ballad of Gay Tony and
Lost in the Damned. Dude.
Yeah. I feel like they were like pretty well-known pieces of DLC content back during that era. I mean, we're going to talk about that era here in a bit, which is going to be fun. But dude, yeah, definitely like such a different time.
Dude, and like you're playing the campaign and they interweave into the campaign, like Nico's campaign. They pop up those characters like in a couple parts. And it's just cool to see, like, oh, they were thinking about this DLC even back when they did this original game, because they start talking about things with Johnny, who you play as in The Lost and the Damned. But really fun. I can't recommend that game enough. But again, there are some places where it absolutely falters. The game came out in 2008. It's kind of old. So, and for last, Gooch, yesterday I picked up Helldivers 2.
Have you started?
I'm serving the cause. Yes, I started. I have been having a few matchmaking issues.
Yeah, I've been seeing there have been
some connectivity stuff.
So it's always online?
Yeah, it's completely multiplayer. It was $40, completely multiplayer. You can just quick search for matches. It's a lot of like objective based stuff, PvE gameplay. Obviously,
it's not PvP.
You're destroying certain objectives, destroying like egg piles and like just sometimes you'll get launched onto a planet and you have to just destroy so many bugs or something like that. It's fun. The gameplay is punchy. It feels good. The HUD is a little busy for my taste. But the idea of calling in these care packages, there's like a combo system in it. So you have your like TACCOM or something it's called. I think that's from Gears.
Yeah.
But it's like that type of thing. You hold LB and like this list of combos come up.
TACCOM from Gears. So good.
And it says like, okay, you have a resupply, you have a reinforcement drop, you have a machine gun you can call, and you can unlock all these different drops. But to pull them up, you have to hold the left bumper, and a combo will come up and be like down, down, left, right, up, down, and you have to put that in, pull out a grenade, you throw that, and then you'll call in reinforcements or something. There's also friendly fire, which is a big part of the game. So you fuck your friends up if you're shooting. If you call in an airstrike and they're in the area, they get destroyed. Most of the game modes have 20 lives that you can call back in. It's fun. I could see like if 4 of us got on it, you could waste a lot of time for a couple hours. Mm-hmm. It's cool. I got to give PlayStation credit for starting off strong here on one note, at least with this one. Seems to be getting relatively good reviews. I saw some questions about the Battle Pass, about how it's a little bit pay to win. But I don't know. You're not facing like players, so I kind of don't mind if you're like, oh, I want to buy boost. Okay, fine. You get a little higher level. There are like difficulty ranges for the operations too and stuff like that. But yeah, man, so far it's cool. I think for $40, that was key at making it at that price range.
Yeah, I didn't know it was $40.
Yeah, so reasonable. If you have a group of friends that would play it, I'm sure you'd enjoy it. So definitely a recommend for me so far. But a little caveat on that, I have only played for about like 6-7 hours. So I'm
wow.
Or not? Okay, well, that's actually what am I thinking?
6 or
like
7
3
games.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
like,
I got a
damn,
little bit
all
of time in for sure.
Yeah, so I'm continuing my Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen playthrough. It's going pretty well. It's I like some aspect of the game. It's made during an age where I find charm in its age, but like when we were talking about it, because I know you have interest in getting two,
right?
You do not need to play this.
See,
I don't think it would do anything for you.
I saw people talking about it, and I was even just like, I don't know. Do I need? Like, I felt like even some of the developers didn't seem like too
the story
keen. Yeah.
is actually probably one of the minuscule things about it.
I see.
Like they're really like. I mean, Fred, friend of the show, was telling me, and even Andre, were telling me like while I was playing, I've been kind of streaming this on Discord a little bit, like here and there when I have like a few hours, just like jumping in one of the calls and like talking with people. So if you're interested in doing that, I join the Discord if you're not in there already. Look out for that. I usually just post about it. Come in, talk to me and the other people, and it's fun. You get to watch me play games. Yeah, like he's like, oh yeah, the story kind of like kicks up at the end. I'm like, okay, but like the game is like kind of like doing quests, and I'm following a 100% guide for the trophy for the achievements, and it is almost kind of necessary. There's a lot of missables in this game, and like when I first started out, I was kind of like just like doing my own thing, and then I was like looking at like a missables guide, and I'm like, oh my god, I could easily fuck this up. So I'm gonna just follow a guide like to bring me to things. But I'm having a good time with it. I kind of like having guides with certain games. I feel like it kind of like makes the playthrough better sometimes.
Well, especially for like how old is that game?
2011.
Sure. So I think that I agree with that, especially when you're going for an older game and. Like you said, you're trying to get those those missables, especially.
Right. Yeah. But it's been fun. I'm glad I'm playing it. I don't have a ton going on in terms of games right now, but it's about to churn up a little bit as we get in the next few weeks here.
Sorry to interject. When does Dragon's Dogma 2 come out? Next month?
End of March.
End of March? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And there's nothing really else then either, is there?
No, Final Fantasy Rebirth. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't think there's much after that for a little while.
Got it.
I've still been playing Halo Infinite and Apex. It's been, fun getting back into those. Final Fantasy Theatrhythm Final Bar Line has been platinumed. I've been working on this game for a long time. It's just been a lot of grind, but not like unfun grind. There's just a lot of stuff you got to do in the game, and it's not like difficult. It's just time consuming.
Sure.
Like each game has its own set list of music, and each piece of music has like a quest you have to do, and you have to do certain objectives, and some of them are a little hard, and you kind of have to like min-max a party and level a character up to like max level, and doing all the songs. So it's just kind of like a big grind, but it's not bad. It just took me like I think I ended up playing like this game for like 90 hours.
Damn.
And it's funny because Square has another rhythm game for Kingdom Hearts called Melody and Memory. And it we're gonna talk about some rhythm games in a little bit here, but it's funny to see like different kinds of rhythm games, sort of like peripherate. That's a word. Peripherate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Peripherate like after Rock Band and stuff. Like
it is interesting.
Like the genre still kind of like is being kept alive in like a weird kind of way, and like in a non-traditional kind of way.
And I mean, I feel like we just got that announcement of that new guitar controller too, so that seems to be a bit more.
You know why I think that's being made?
It's for the Fortnite stuff. Or that seemed to be the
I would disagree and say I think somebody recognized that the guitars are astronomically expensive and they shouldn't be, so they're making a new thing that's accessible from a price point, so you don't have to spend $300 to get like a 20-year-old used guitar.
That also is broke. Like, dude, I remember I had like 2 guitars when I moved to out of Malin, Guitar Hero guitars, and they were just so beat up. Like those don't last. So I think there is a market for those, and I don't think they're probably. Did they announce a price? I don't think
like
they
120.
did. Oh, they did.
I think
I will buy the fuck out of that. And if that inspires them to make a new drum set, I'll buy the fuck out of that too. Because I still have Rock Band 4. So and all my songs on there and stuff.
Do you have any of the guitars anymore?
No. I had to get rid of them because they were all broken. They were all
they broke.
They were just weren't and they were all mushy and the thing wasn't working well.
Mushy.
Yeah.
What does that
like
mean?
the buttons, like they didn't click well.
Right.
Like they just were. I don't know.
Yeah.
After so much use,
the
you
guitar,
know what I mean?
the 2 and 3's controllers got pretty fucked up. I remember the Rock Band guitar was always where it was at for me. I really like that one much more than the Guitar Hero one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
My drums were in really good shape, and I sold mine for like $80 back in like 2013.
If I had room, I wouldn't have gotten rid of mine, and that's the thing that sucks. It was just because when we were moving from mail into the small apartment, I had nowhere to put them. So
yeah,
God, it sucks.
Still playing Callisto Protocol.
Right.
I did my hardcore run, New Game Plus. My achievements bugged, but I fucking found a way to fix it, and it was stupid. Fucking stupid. I had to like restart the game. I had to restart the game and play until like a certain part, then close it out, then like do it again in New Game Plus, close it out, reload my New Game Plus save, beat the game again, and then it popped. For some reason, it was like it was being blocked.
Yeah.
And like I imagine Callisto Protocol is like, you know, at this point like done.
Yeah, they're not patching shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just like, this is insane. I don't know how somebody figured this out, but they did. And I'm thankful for those people. Another achievement I had to do was I had to max up all the weapons. That was pretty easy.
Right.
But now I'm doing the big mama of Callisto, which is the Contagion run. And Contagion is basically, it's permadeath, but you go back to the beginning of the chapter. And I'm on the Habitat chapter, and that's the one with the water slide and the fans. And it's really annoying, and it's really hard. So there's an achievement.
How far into the chapter is that again?
It's you don't have the armor yet. It's the one before. It's the one before you go outside and get that.
Right.
Yeah. So and I keep fucking up one way or another. Like I've gotten like past the fans like 3 or 4 times in a row, no problem, and then next time, boom, I get killed. And basically, I have to play the game. So there's an achievement to do it just to do Contagion, period, and there's a do it without dying at all. So to do it without dying, I have to play offline. When I die, I delete my save from my console, and then I go back online
and you reload your save. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and I get it back. Remember, I was doing that with Gears.
Yeah,
similar thing. Yeah, but it's just like, dude, stop.
For God's sakes.
Much harder than I thought it was gonna be. I feel like once I get past this hump, I'm gonna like
it'll just sail. Yeah,
because you get like more powerful as you go. Once you get the suit, you can take much more damage.
Right.
It's like that beginning part where like I don't have a lot and my inventory is not huge, so like I'm constantly trying to sell things and make room and use everything efficiently. It's been a pain in the
tough,
ass,
man.
And I'm also doing in Metal Gear Solid 3, I did my non-lethal run. I got like most of the achievements or trophies wrapped up for the game, and the last thing I have to do is the Foxhound run, which is it's the whole game under 5 hours, no kills, no alerts, like under 20 saves. You can only eat 20 things of food. Like it's pretty much like the ultimate, like do as little as possible, but it's not bad. It's not, what's good is if you fuck up, you can just load.
Yeah. So
I mean, continues will make the time go. It's just like, okay, I can't continue. I have to exit, reload.
Yeah.
I'm at the end. And I was really struggling with the pain and the fear. The boss fights have been actually the hardest part. Some areas are pretty tough, but yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do. I hate how I'm doing like 2 of these kind of like challenge runs, like in 2 different games. I'm like, this just teed up like at a poor time, but it is what it is.
The things we do for achievements.
And I'm actually kind of weaning out of playing MK1.
Gotcha.
All I have left is to get 5 cameo fighters to 15, and holy fuck, it's a grind. And what sucks is like, it was great when we, like I was telling you this when we were playing private match. I wish I could like play against you and level up, not to boost, but just as like, oh, like I'm getting progress
while
and
I'm
like
playing with my friends.
I'm like, and who cares if I boost? I'm not getting any. It doesn't make me a better player.
Yeah,
It's like
I agree.
I'm like, this is where like I'm like NetherRealm. You got to realize like just make the fighting game accessible. Whether you want to boost or you don't, and you do it legit, what does it matter? It's just skins and fatalities. It doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, it is weird.
And the AI fighters that were in Injustice 2 and MK11, those were awesome. Where I just like had an AI do a tower and it kind of grinded for me, and I was doing something else. Like I like that.
I didn't realize. I forgot about that actually.
That's what I well with Injustice 2, I think you had to get everyone to 20, and that took a while. But again, I would do things. I would have an AI go on a tower, and I would just do things, and then hit AA, then it would go. And I was actually like, this makes it kind of bearable because I don't have to just monotonously fight all the time.
Yeah.
And the invasion is like okay, but like fighting people online seems to be the best way. But it's just like, I hope they kind of add different ways or they make XP better to get for cameo fighters. Like, it just seems like a huge grind.
Especially if you got to get them 5 up to 15, you said?
5.
Jesus.
Yeah, I thought it was 3 originally, and I got 1. I got Sonya Blade to 15, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this 4 more times. Fucking kill me. Yeah, but that's it. That's all I've been really playing. Watching. Finish the Clone Wars.
Love it.
Oh my God. So we almost did a Star Wars related topic. We were talking about it because I'm so
Ahsoka horny.
I'm so Ahsoka'd up right now. And I'm just like, dude, like I don't understand how Clone Wars just could have been as good as it was. Like I just don't get it. There is like it sucks like season 6, and I remember the last time we talked about this where I was. I think it was like right at the beginning of the final season. But like that last season that they did that wasn't Disney Plus was like, here's the extra episodes we like didn't finish, and we're just gonna like put them out.
Yeah.
And it was like, like the Fives arc was cool where he finds out about the chip, but then the final season is the Bad Batch backdoor pilot, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Then you have Ahsoka kind of like getting like she's on like a little adventure, and then like Bo-Katan calls her in to help with Mandalore.
Yep.
And then it's the last 4 are the Mandalore arc and then Order 66. And those episodes are just so good. I wish we could go back in time or things just would have happened differently. That Disney would have realized Ahsoka being like the focal point of the sequel trilogy would have been like the better bet.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Rey and Finn and Poe like don't have to exist, but like there's clearly issues with all of those characters to some facet.
Well, sure, but I mean that's
with
Disney's
fans, with writing, within. You know,
I mean, that's going to come back around like the prequels have in 20 years, so it's fine.
We'll see.
But, no,
I hear you.
Because I do just like, listen, I love the prequels and stuff, but like the turnaround.
Say what you got to say.
The pleasuring of these movies, sometimes I do get to the point where I'm like, people got to remember that their nostalgia is wrapped up a lot in that. That's going to happen for a lot of these kids. But to your point, I think Ahsoka is a pretty interesting character. She's had a lot of time to grow over the series. Which,
so much time.
I mean, it's just
compared
that's
to any
just
other character.
Yeah, and I mean that's just the name of the beast when it comes to having a show about someone versus 3 movies.
Right.
I think a lot of the stuff comes from just the indecisiveness of Disney in those last 3 movies, and that's what causes the issues. I mean, it was like with the DC universe. They tried to pivot like fucking 4 times in 3 years, so you fuck things up. But I mean, dude, Ahsoka's a great character. It's funny how things wrap around, just like with Anakin, just like with her. Everyone started out hating them. Now they love them.
Yeah.
And that's because they put in the time with them. And even like episode 3 really does do a lot to wrap that back around, especially with Anakin and Obi-Wan's like connection.
And I did watch Revenge of the Sith to cap it off. And now that Bad Batch is finishing, instead of going to Rebels, I'm just going right into Bad Batch.
I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Because I was like, well, if Bad Batch isn't finished, I don't want to like end the show and then have to go back.
It would be weird. Yeah,
so I'm kind of giving a little bit of breather, and I will get around to the Bad Batch, but I'm so excited because like my favorite part of the Clone Wars is the clones. I really like Rex. I really like the camaraderie, not only with the Jedi but with each other.
Sure.
Like that was really like the highlight for me. I'm like, I don't like the prequels necessarily. I like the prequel era.
Sure.
I like the Clone Wars. I think it's a really cool set piece to do
things in
whatever the fuck. Even I know like we always talk about like, oh, can't wait for like High Republic shit because we can just do anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's kind of true, but like I think they kind of did that already with the Clone Wars. They did it. They explored a lot of different things within that war to, I think, great effect.
No, definitely. And I mean, you know, we had the Clone Wars, we had the movies. It's funny how even did you watch the like original Clone War movie?
Mm-hmm. That's how I started.
It is interesting. Yeah,
I watched episode 1, 2 Clone Wars movie, and then I went into the show.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just interesting because like I've talked about this before. Like George wung it, and he managed to pull it together in the end there in the way of story. And it's just funny how that can work out sometimes. And it's nice that it did incubate this whole new world that we're in. They haven't explored upon the sequel era in an interesting way because another thing is people do just want to get out of this timeline that we know. I mean, we have the Acolyte coming, which is...
Yeah.
I can't remember how much... I don't know if it's High Republic, but it might be. They looked that... There were some leaked screenshots that looked pretty interesting. But yeah, man, I don't disagree with you on Ahsoka. I just think she's had the luck and not the luck,
The care,
and just
Dave Filoni, you know,
Dave Filoni, and just this entire years upon years of backstory to build upon and to craft a great character, which is harder to do in 9 hours. But it would also be nice if you knew what you were doing with that character.
Those last episodes of the Clone Wars, and I know
that could be a movie on its own.
I know this is it is a movie.
Yeah, it basically is. Yeah,
I know this is a hot take, but it is the best Star Wars content there's ever been. It's better than the original trilogy. I have become.
I just don't. You can't. I just think you can't say that. Like I mean, because that's where it comes from. I'm saying it. I'm
breaking the barrier. You know that Apple commercial, the 1984 one where he throws the hammer into the screen. That's me.
Sure.
You guys are all fucking tranced by that thing, and I just don't have the like. I don't get me wrong. I like it and I appreciate what it's done, and obviously like I'm aware of it, but I just don't have this dick sucking admiration for it that like everyone else does.
For the original trilogy, you're saying?
Yeah.
But
I'm like,
that's
dude,
because
I'm
like, you realize like it just that can't be better than the original. Like
I think it is
objectively, I guess. I feel like
I know without it,
yeah,
we don't
like
get
you know
there.
what I mean? Because it just wouldn't exist.
But like I just am like, dude, the like everything about those last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars, I'm like, it is just some of the best. Like I don't know what other way to put it. I'm like, I think I'm just kind of done with people putting OG Star Wars on such a pedestal. I'm just like, we gotta but like, here's the issue. Here's the issue. It's everyone just hating on all the new stuff, and that's really my issue is just the hate on all this new stuff. And it's not that I think the new stuff is good, but I'm like, dude, there is some good stuff.
What do you mean on the new? See, because I don't think there's hate on the Clone Wars at all, the animated shows. I think it's all on the sequels.
No, that prequel hate is still there.
No, don't get. But that's sure. But like, I think the majority of hate you hear all the time is about sequel stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, I will. Yeah, every time someone goes, the prequels are good. I'm like,
it's the purists that bother me. They don't want anything more with Star Wars, and I'm like, guys, I'm like
that I agree with.
I'm like, there is some great stuff here. It's not all great, but like, I'm like,
it's more when someone
fuck on.
But again,
like you can have a better take than like the original trilogy of Star Wars is the best. Like, oh, we get it. Like a lot of people think that. Like it's not. You're not like original.
You're just telling. But that's not a. But just because you're not original, that's not a reason to change your opinion.
Right. But like I think it's more like open your fucking mind a little bit. And like have like some sort of like give this shit a chance.
I think there's
and the animated stuff that gets shafted and people don't pay attention about it because it's animated. It's like, no, this is where the best Star Wars stuff is happening.
Yeah, but that's like George Lucas's fault and everything because he just kind of pushed it off and gave it to other people and didn't like that wasn't supposed to be that big of a deal. He was focusing on the movies. The movies are the thing,
right?
And like, yeah, I do. When someone tries to go, the prequels are really good. No, they aren't. They have incredible. Right. I'm like, I have incredible technical and story issues, glaringly so.
Yeah, my reasonings for liking the Clone Wars have nothing to do with the prequels.
And that's why I think there is something like where someone can't be like, well, there's if you truly can be like, there's no good stuff after this, and I respect someone's opinion that's genuinely just like, you know, I'm just kind of done with it. I don't see any interest in it, and like they can kind of take that.
I think there's just so much jadedness with Star Wars that it just kind of bothers me.
I think
let me like the Clone Wars, you know.
No, and I think that's totally reasonable. And again, I think a lot of I think the people online, you're going to run into those people that are like, no, those are dumb. Nothing past the originals is good. But I think most generally well-reasoned people do seem to, that are big enough Star Wars fans to watch it, find good things, really good things, especially in the Clone Wars.
Like I was talking to Ian, and he's like, dude, I'm like, he just like doesn't like. Ian's a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm throwing him under the bus. Like he just doesn't care about the. I'm like, why? He doesn't care about the Clone Wars.
Sure.
I'm like, why not? He's like, dude, it's animated. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. You're so close-minded. And it's ridiculous. It's horrible.
We love you, Ian. But I think...
No, we don't.
I think that there is something innate for a lot of people, and I think that's been changing a lot these past 10 years. When you see an animated thing, there's like a, ugh. But I do think that's on the swing around, genuinely. Like with stuff like Spider-Man and things like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but like look at Marvel with their animated stuff. It's like, do people really care? Do we really care?
I'm talking about Spider-Man into the Across the Spider-Verse that just did incredibly well with adults and kids alike. You know what I mean? Sure. But no, sure, Marvel, they haven't tried to release and the MCU proper has not tried to release like a full-on animated feature. I'd be curious to see how that goes if they did. Mm-hmm. But no, I do think there is innately some type of stigma around that for some people, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really helpful to say that's stupid and call them idiots because you're not going to win them over that way. But I would say wholeheartedly, yes, watch the Clone Wars if you're a Star Wars fan. Watch these things if you're a Star Wars fan because you'll probably find something you like in it.
And I get it. Is the Mace Windu Jar Jar episode in that 6th season good? No, but like... we get around it. Like not every episode or arc of the Clone Wars is good, but like there's a lot to appreciate in what it offers.
Ian, you're not a real Star Wars fan. God, no.
Fucking understand why Cad Bane is better than fucking
Well, but again, the Boba Fett thing, you know me, I've been saying this forever. Boba Fett's an idiot loser. He always was since the original trilogy. He did nothing until he got thrown in the Sarlacc pit because he can't shoot someone.
Right.
I love him, but he looks cool. And that's just how it goes with a lot of things. You know, Star Wars is a touchy subject, Gooch. You know me after The Last Jedi and all that. I almost hate there's a bunch of things, even besides Star Wars.
This almost was going to be the topic of the podcast, and I knew Trio was like,
well, you were saying like the topic was going to be Ahsoka should have been the main character, right?
Right. Yeah. It was going to be around Ahsoka. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Ahsoka a lot. I haven't found her to reach like that interesting of a character level for me.
I just think out of all the Star Wars characters we have, she's the most.
And I think that comes from
dynamic, and she's grown so much. Yeah.
I think that also, like I said, comes from the fact that we've got to spend so much time with her. You know what I mean? Right. Versus these other characters.
But we watched Dune, of course. I mentioned that, and then I watched Nausicaa of the Valley and the Wind, which is the first Ghibli movie. Very good. Okay. You kind of see like where they start off, some of the good, some of the bad.
When did it come out?
84 well. Same year as Dune.
Would you look at that?
Yeah. So Patrick Stewart, Uma Thurman, Shia LaBeouf, great voice cast.
That is funny. Wow.
So it was dubbed.
Shia LaBeouf in 84.
It was dubbed in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I was like. What? Yeah. I was just like, how? Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, they did the dub later.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And Disney's involved in the dubs, so that's why like Noah Cyrus is in Ponyo, because I guess they had access to her through Miley at the time.
Interesting.
But yeah, very good. It's like Japanese Snow White. It's very cool.
All right.
It's like there are a lot of like. You know what's funny? In the beginning, the Nausicaa, the main character, is talking to herself a lot. I'm like, wow, this is like 2022 video game protagonist issues here, where she's just like talking about like what she's doing. I'm like, I know what you're doing. I'm watching it.
We don't need to. We don't need to see.
Right. But so it's good. I enjoyed it. It's a good base for what Ghibli like eventually goes on to do with other stuff. And then I rewatched La La Land, like one of my favorite movies ever.
I love it.
Fucking great. The Goss, he's on top.
The Goss. Dude, he really did. You see the whole Vanity Fair thing he did? The cover story? It was good. He did like a bunch of videos with them too. Cool. Okay, he was on top of the like WB tower and they took a picture of him. It was cool.
Yeah, he's just Ken.
He is me. I am him.
Yeah. So that's it for what we're playing and what we're doing. Trio wanted to talk about the state of play that we had.
Yeah, I thought
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I was like, we got to talk a little bit about that.
Well, now there's just a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so I mean, it's funny. Kind of the state of play has been so far in the rear view for me now. I'm trying to I'm having trouble remembering. I saw Eve, or no, what is that?
Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade.
Dude,
I saw a few
I'm
other things.
interested.
I'm 100% interested. What else did I see? They dropped the Helldiver stuff there.
Yeah.
What were the other big things that came out?
Well, there were like Dragon's Dogma 2 trailer. I'm sure like a lot of smaller games.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Death Stranding 2's trailer
Right, that was the big thing, probably.
thing. And then that he's doing a new IP as well.
Right, Finst, right?
Fizzint, yeah.
Fizzint, yeah.
Yeah, so like Sigint,
Yeah.
Signal Intelligence, like from MGS3, and then Humint, instead of it being information intelligence, or signal intelligence, it's human intelligence, and now Fizzint is like physical intelligence. It's all they're real words. Human and
that makes
Sigint
sense.
are
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Kojima terms.
There's I gotta say, man, it sounds interesting. I saw his like one article how he was talking about why he's doing it, right, with his health scare or something.
Yeah,
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool. Like maybe put his life in perspective. He just wanted to do this, espionage tactical game.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm interested to see what that is.
Right. I mean, is it gonna, obviously that's Metal Gear.
He keeps talking about how it's a game and a movie. So I'm real.
Your mom will walk by and think it's a movie. I'm
yeah.
like, Kojima, that's every game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude.
This isn't anything new. What did you think about Death Stranding 2, man?
I gotta say, dude,
On the beach.
I gotta say, a little Kojima fart sniffer. No, I fucking really enjoyed it. I gotta say, I was blown away by just the fact that I enjoyed it that much. The trailer itself looked interesting. I was like, where is this game gonna go? Global. We're following Sam as he expands the network onto like European continents and stuff now, in different places throughout the world. Yeah, we're getting new environments.
New organization.
Right.
Fragile started a civilian outfit called Drawbridge.
Right.
And they're kind of taking upon Bridge's mission globally.
Yeah.
You're in a ship.
Everything's black and white.
I think it has something to do with. I think it
like,
has something to do with them being on the beach.
That's what I was thinking.
The ship has some connection to the beach.
Right. Okay.
So I think that's what that was.
Looks like more combat heavy.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be killing robots.
Yeah.
So it's clear that Kojima was like, yeah, we didn't. I think for especially maybe the messaging for that game, that was maybe had something to do with that. But maybe now the messaging is, should we have connected? And here's the AI coming into the picture in APAC, and Higgs is now automated deliveries. Humans aren't making deliveries anymore. Come on, Trio, you see the real world implications here. And now we're gonna be killing the robots, which I find interesting. And Higgs is gonna use his guitar gun.
Little David Bowie Joker or whatever. I gotta say that was probably that's where I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm in. Like, like it's him just
same as the River Boys.
Yeah, I did catch that too when it happened.
Yeah.
I was like,
and then the fucking puppet thing, dude. That's our Mimir.
Yeah, that is an interesting callback. I thought that was
and
cool.
He's still wearing the Bridge Baby pod, but
there doesn't seem to be anything in it, right?
Right. Elle is Lou.
Yeah.
Elle Fanning. We finally got to see her. She's playing Lou, and she's dead in the trailer. And I have a funny feeling this has to do with her being a Bridge Baby and the fact that she's like in between the world of the living and the dead as like a stillborn baby. She's not alive and she's not dead, but she's kind of like in this area. So when she gets removed from the pod, like, what does that mean for her the rest of her life? Like, this must have something to do with the narrative.
And they start talking about why Lou was deemed defective, right? She like doesn't Guillermo del Toro's character, not him.
Yeah, Deadman is talking about like
there was a reason that I didn't realize they just got an impersonator to play him.
I don't think. Yeah,
he sounds like almost
George
exactly
Miller's
like,
character is the same thing.
Yeah,
like the pilot with one hand and the fucking tentacle cat.
It was it's just funny because like I heard Guillermo del Toro like speak in an interview. I'm like, oh, this is his voice, but like they didn't get him to voice it. It's interesting. I didn't realize.
I think it's cool.
It is
because like he just scans people. He
Yeah.
brings people to the office and he scans them. Scans them. Ooh, sorry, little.
It's all right.
Hiccup. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what the game is gonna do. I love seeing like the environments in Mexico when like the flood takes out the bridge. Really cool. It looks like the weather is going to be much more dynamic and interacting with the environment other than just rain.
And I was wondering how they were gonna spice up the gameplay a little bit, and I think adding those environments in is definitely a great way to
making
start.
the world more dangerous. Because I mean, like, hey, the BTs and like areas and the mules, the game has a dangerous environment, but I think like
making the environment itself even more dangerous, not just like the enemies. Yeah.
And the world still looks like Iceland, which I found interesting. Like it's like deserty, but it's also like, dude, that shot with the dunes.
It's good.
Oh my god! Yeah. I'm like, there's still like they're keeping
it's very
that,
barren-y.
Right, they're
Yeah.
keeping that base of Iceland still with like a different like
flavor.
right,
Right,
and I
yeah.
think that's cool. Like, I mean, like and there's snow in Death Stranding. Like, there's
Right.
still a lot of like environment differences in Death Stranding 1, even though it's based off one place.
Sure.
Well, just like the country of Iceland, there's a lot of just like America, there's a lot of differences between the land,
Lots of
between
biomes,
east and
if you will.
yeah, Minecraft biomes. But yeah, I mean, I think that was. I'm trying to think
That's
of
the
like,
big thing. Really, I think that was really why I wanted to talk about it. Honestly.
Yeah.
And obviously, what was it again? A Stellar Blade.
yeah.
That was named something else before. Wasn't it just named Eve? I thought it was like.
No, that's. I think you're thinking about Pragmata with that little
okay.
kid in space that looks like a Kojima game and it's anime looking.
But yeah, no,
Yeah,
Stellar Blade.
Stellar
Looks great.
Blade,
That was definitely
I'm
one
like-
that pokes out.
Yeah, like it's really anime, but it's like not that anime. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm really interested in this. And
Why are you interested, Gooch?
Yeah, because she's hot, and it's like sometimes it's like, yeah, that dev comment of like she just looks attractive. That's it.
Like, I know, I love that whole
She's
thing.
modeled
He's like,
after
I
a
want
model.
to play as people. Yeah, well, I'm playing as the ideal here. We're not
I'm like,
playing
good.
as like
Let's
the,
get back to base here.
well, like, and
you
again,
can do
like,
that.
not every representation or everything has to be like. I'm not
This inclusive
I'm not
thing.
going to watch.
I mean, she's Asian, so
Yeah, well, and I'm not going to watch. If I go to watch Superman and his body looks like my body, we have a problem. That's all I'm gonna say. We need. I want in certain things, I want to see the ideal. That's it. But good stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah, I was gonna look up really quickly. Yeah, what was revealed? Dragon's Dogma 2, Helldivers, Judas.
Oh right, Judas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we got a new Bioshock game,
right.
and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
And by the way, like Death Stranding 2 didn't have like I think it's a 2025.
Thought it did say done in 2025.
Yeah, but like that was it.
That was it, yeah.
They had some VR stuff. That Metro's getting a VR game. Until Dawn is getting a remake, which is like why?
because they're making the movie,
It's so
which is weird. I don't know. I mean, it does look markedly better. I will say.
So strange. I just don't get that one at all.
That game must do well. That's
Like-
my only thing I
like,
can guess.
Great. You know what I'm thinking of it? Great. Now we can I have a reason to replay it for our horror month thing that we do every year.
Yeah.
But I was kind of looking to get away and like do some different games for that because
Right.
we've been playing. That's literally the only games we've kind of done.
We could do like an Outlast or an Amnesia.
I was
Maybe
thinking
like
of Layers of Fear.
Oh yeah, that might be. I
Yeah.
never played. There's a lot of like. It's funny. There's always all these indie horror movies. I'm looking on like the game marketplace. There's a ton of, and they got some good reviews from a lot of people.
Yeah.
There was one. It was like a Nazi one that looked interesting. Came out recently, but I can't remember the name.
And then the only other thing I think of consequence, there was some other stuff. Sonic X Shadow Generations. I don't think it's really something me and Trio have much to say about. Silent Hill 2 remake got another trailer, and it didn't really look
Looked a
that
little
great.
janky.
Looked a little janky. This is Bloober, by the
Yeah.
way, doing this. And then
do you
Silent
not
Hill,
give
the
that-
the
sorry.
short message, which was like a PT
Like
thing,
Yeah.
free game.
I
And
never
then
played
it
it.
didn't. I don't
Yeah.
think people really liked
talked
it.
about. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like it kind of just came out and went away.
right.
That sucks. Man, how do you not give that game to like the most top tier developer you can find?
Right. Silent Hill 2 is like.
That's like
I
God
don't know.
level almost to a degree for
What?
people. That's like God tier for people.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I was gonna say like one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time, but I don't think I'd say that necessarily. The game is such a status of this, especially of like the original Silent Hill games. Yeah, Bloober team. Everyone has just been like, why Bloober? Like,
I don't know.
I don't
man.
like they made some okay games, but like
And can I?
not well enough to make Silent Hill 2.
I don't know, man. And then to go back just to the remake of Until Dawn, like how can we not? There are just certain games that they're leaving out to pasture in the remake front that they're going after. Where I'm just like, who is making this call? Like I feel like if they did, I know everyone asked for it forever, but like Bloodborne stuff like that, like what's going on? I don't know. And then you got like did the Until Dawn, not Until Dawn.
By the way, Bloober made Layers of Fear
Interesting.
as well.
Well, so I guess that makes sense then.
But it's like a horror game on a different scale. And they did
Yeah.
Observer, Layers of Fear 2, and then like
So I did
Valor.
hear Observer is pretty good. I've seen that a lot on Xbox.
Yeah, but again, like these games are like such a different scale.
They're different, beasts
yeah,
altogether.
Yeah, they're not Silent Hill 2.
No.
You know, where it's just like
That's top. That's like God tier, like we said.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like people, that's like held up on an echelon that is above everything.
So let's talk about the Xbox stuff. And I don't even know.
I just kind of want to even just, I don't even
I don't
want to
get into
too
it.
deep.
I just here's my prediction about what's going to happen with this.
Top level thoughts.
If
yeah,
you
that's what I'm
don't
thinking.
if you don't know the situation, I would just suggest go look it up somewhere else. If you're in the gaming sphere, you probably should know about this already.
I'm surprised
but
if you wouldn't.
It's pretty complicated. I think this is being. I feel like it's not as bad as it seems. I feel like we're gonna get this media, not a media event, whatever thing they're gonna host or release that's gonna explain what Xbox is doing with their future is going to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
So you don't think all these exclusives are going over?
No, not necessarily that. I don't think Xbox is going away.
Well,
I don't think the foundation of Xbox is going to be like reshaped. I just don't think it's as drastic as it kind of ended up becoming.
I want to know what they said. My top level thoughts of this means they're getting out of the console space next generation.
That's what
because
I
there's
don't
no
believe.
like why no one's buying an Xbox console next generation if all this stuff is on PlayStation. That's what I believe.
No,
I think you know what I mean. I think it really.
But like,
I think there's some major internal strife going on at Microsoft right now between the Microsoft heads and the Xbox.
there's clearly factions within.
And they were talking.
The executive.
Were you
suite.
watching the crossover, the Dukes? I was watching that a little bit, and they were talking about it. And like, it seems to me, Phil Spencer has his vision. He wants to execute it. The people up at Microsoft are saying, "We've given you a lot of time. We see all this money we're losing by not selling all of these games on different consoles. We are a software company. We don't make much hardware to begin with. What are we doing?" And I think all this stuff is getting leaked from high-level people. Like Maddie was talking about this, and it makes sense to me. Or I think it was actually, Cog was talking about it. How, like, this is, like, top-level things. So there seems to be some major internal strife. And, like, I think butting of heads as we speak here right now. I don't know which way this is going to go when it comes out. I think Maddie said it in it too, like, we've gotten to the point where you almost can't walk it back to a degree too, just because of how much everything's out there, and they didn't even come out and deny it to begin with, because why wouldn't you just come out and say none of this is true if it's not true? I don't know, man. I think it's bad regardless, because PlayStation, even if you think Xbox has been the shittiest competition on earth, PlayStation needs competition in the hardware space. I do think that this inevitably gives them less competition in the hardware space, even if Xbox doesn't stop making consoles next generation.
I think the gaming industry is not going to be better without Xbox. Why?
I agree 100%.
Why would, if Xbox what is good about Xbox going away? Nobody should want that. But I will admit this. The fanboyism, even from me, is here's why I'm an Xbox fanboy. I just enjoy the ecosystem much better than I do PlayStation. And I enjoy the people up there. I know Phil Spencer is not my friend, but I feel like he wants to be. And that's kind of the issue. Maybe that's the issue. Well, maybe it's because of how they decided to market themselves and the way they're communicating with their audience that kind of has gotten us to this point in the first place, unlike Sony, who is very corporate.
Just doesn't
now.
say anything. Yeah.
Right. Is to their chest and releases information when they're ready and whatever. And I understand they don't have the exclusives. I've never cared. I care about the exclusives, but like, if you're a gamer of any sort of consequence, you're going to play the games where they are, regardless of if you probably have multiple systems. Like, you're going to find a way to play the games.
But if you're a general gamer, like most people are, you're only buying one. And it's the one that has most of the games.
I'm not going to talk about someone I'm not.
Sure, but that's the majority of people, I guess, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But, and, Xbox has said them themselves, when everyone can play, what is it? What is the quote? I got to look it up.
And and I get what you're saying. Like, when everyone can play everywhere, that will be good. It's something along those lines. Don't get me wrong.
I'm gonna find it.
Like, that's ultimately the goal that I want. But I think right now, doing it in such this quick,
when everybody plays, we all win, and there's truth to that. But like, again, a lot of Xbox stuff is already on other platforms. This switch of the gears of being like, all right, Starfield's going to be on PlayStation and Switch Halo. And like, I mean.
That's
Who,
wild.
who
to me.
knows what like and then Gears came out. Well, who cares about Gears right now? Like Gears doesn't have a new Gear 6 is probably in development, but like it's not like on the cusp here. Like why would they retro like think about it for a minute. It's just like okay, like some of these titles might go over, but all of them? Are we sure about that?
Why would they not say no? Like this is what tells their non-denial tells me this is all happening. Personally,
well, we'll wait and see.
No, for sure.
Week.
No,
whatever Phil Spencer.
That's my read on the situation, I should say. Because why it's like when Naughty Dog was like, "Well, the next game might be The Last of Us, or it might be this. We don't know what it is, so it's The Last of Us." Because you didn't say it's not The Last of Us. Because why wouldn't you say that? I don't know. I just think their whole communication here has been weird. This does feel like a top-down decision. I think ultimately it hurts them in the hardware space majorly. And I think most people, new players coming in after this, if it really all is coming out on PlayStation regardless, they're only going to get one plastic box. And that's fine if they want to accept that. But, and I'm glad that exclusives will be available everywhere. Like you're saying, I think that's genuinely the goal. Everyone should have access to these games wherever they're playing. But I do think at this point, it just kind of gives up the goat on their hardware side. Not that you're going to disappear and like the people who have it are necessarily. I don't think there's no reason to trash my console.
I think that comment, which I don't think is necessarily true or false, I think that comment then breeds to Xbox going away. And again, I just cannot imagine that the Xbox ecosystem, gamer tags, the infrastructure is just going to disappear.
No, sorry, I
think that what you said leads into that kind of talk, and I'm like, guys, there's no way that's going to happen. There's no way Xbox is going to be like, see ya.
If this is but that's the thing. And I get you're saying other people are arguing that. My argument is they won't go away. They'll just turn completely software. They won't make a console after the next two generations.
But then what is Xbox?
They're Microsoft. It will be Microsoft, and they produce games. That's it.
That's crazy.
I know, man. But that's like what this seems to be teeing up, in my opinion. You know, I don't know why else you do it. But Microsoft is. They are a software company. They don't make hardware. And I guess I'm more saying this for people out there. That's their thing. It's software, not the hardware. And they aren't catching up here. So hardware wise,
but like neither's Nintendo.
But again, I hate to be the FTC. They really are in their own little corner.
I know.
And like it doesn't really matter with them. They don't need to worry about that because they're still making good money.
I just don't like. I don't want Xbox to go away. Again,
I don't either.
Like, I like Xbox a lot. I have a lot of hours into that. My achievements, things like that. I just don't see that happening.
And it does suck because I think Phil's on the cusp here, but they've been on the cusp. They've had the deck, Gooch.
I know. I know.
And they won't. There's nothing. We haven't had a lot come up. And listen, I love Starfield, but it was not the thing that people.
Had a lot of bluffs.
Absolutely.
And they lost the hand.
And they had some good ones. They had Starfield definitely wasn't exactly what they wanted. I loved it for sure, but they didn't hit the way that they were hoping. And I do think they see all these possible people that could have played on PlayStation. And they're like, and dude, they seem to be butting heads with Bethesda a lot. Like they keep talking about how they hate exclusivity. I feel like you see like maybe not Pete Hines, but like one of them was like, yeah, I don't like this exclusivity stuff on that end. And I get it. And we saw the breadcrumbs of this. You know what it was from, Gooch? Blade. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, Blade.
There's no.
Yeah.
Is this an Xbox exclusive? What?
And then you're seeing now everyone's reading and they're changing the Xbox stuff over to Microsoft.
Well, so that
is this a GameSpot error? And then the Avowed page, I don't know if you saw, they took off like the Xbox Series XS thing. And I'm just like, I think we just I think we're just reading into things. Well, now.
But I also think that's how are they messing up on that? Like how does that get changed?
I'm not saying that's messing up, but like
this is I know, Gooch, but this is I think the problem too. This is Microsoft/Xbox's fault. They're allowing all this room for us to just simmer. And apparently they weren't going to do this for another month, and now they pushed it up. I think like 2 weeks because of all these leaks. And dude, I'm telling you, if Phil doesn't walk out on that stage and it's Microsoft people, everything's going on every console immediately. If it's not Phil on that stage.
Well, and then that's the question.
And he'll leave after that.
Right. How long does Phil have left?
I think either he gets fired or he leaves. And listen, I know people love
right. You don't. In a company, you don't lose like that and not leave.
Absolutely,
or get fired.
Well, and don't get me wrong.
That's not how it works.
I think he's earned a lot of criticism in the way he's kind of promised certain things. And like you're saying, having that friendly attitude, which I think helps. but it does create that kind of parasocial relationship that, true fanboys like feed off of. But he did pull Xbox back from the brink in a lot of ways. Xbox One reveal was a catastrophe that we saw happen right before our very eyes and caused untold people to switch over to the PlayStation 4, myself included. And that's when all these digital footprints were established. That's when a lot of these key things happened. And Xbox lost, I think, one of the most important generations. And they've just
Phil Spencer said that.
Yeah,
They lost the most important generation.
And now they've just been trying to play catch up, and they can't quite get there.
And I guess I look at Xbox and I just don't get upset at the exclusive games not being on the level of PlayStation's. But like, look what they're doing for third party, like the backwards compatibility. They're doing so much great things that Sony isn't doing, that Nintendo isn't doing. We can't lose Xbox.
I know, man, but I do think if you want people to buy those boxes to play those games on, to use that ecosystem, you need a reason to.
And I'm even thinking, how does Xbox innovate what a console is in terms of like, they've always done this, the Xbox family sort of thing. And like I know they like the Series X and the S, and like they already have kind of been doing that, but what if they do that again? And like I don't even really know what that means. I'm just kind of pitching an idea here of like, how do they change their tune but like still like on the same song, you know what I mean?
It's tough, man, and I don't begrudge Phil being in that position at all. I wouldn't want to be in it. They were in a deep hole, and I saw someone tweet like, will someone stop using the Xbox One generation like as an excuse for the?
I mean, it's
like
not
what's
an
happening.
excuse.
It's truly what put them on this ground.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Playing like catch up, and don't get me wrong, Phil's made a lot of mistakes, probably himself, but to the fact that we're even where we are today after that monstrous launch is a feat into itself, and I will give Phil Spencer credit for that. Top level Gooch, I think it's bad if this is what's happening for console competition, hardware competition.
And
I think it's good for gamers to be able to play things everywhere.
And I think top level, I don't think it's nearly as dire as we're making it out to be.
Do you think what I'm saying is dire?
Yes.
Because I think, like, I just don't get how logically you don't get there. Like, you know what I mean? Because just what's the point in buying that console now? Why is a new person from now on going to purchase that box so they can get that game everywhere? You know what I mean? And unless PlayStation did the same thing, vice versa, that would be different. Because now you can just choose your ecosystem. You know what I mean? But when someone asks me which console they're going to get, Super asks me which console to get, I say PlayStation. 100%. Every time. Because of those games. Genuinely. But I do caveat that with, I like all of X, Y, and Z about Xbox 1,000% better. Mm-hmm. But those aren't necessarily the things that I think your average Joes who are buying the majority of these consoles are thinking about. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that's like, I guess, where I'm at.
Yeah.
Anywho.
No, that's well said.
That was a good, and I think that was a good, I'm glad we talked about that because that was a good conversation. Something I would like to, it would be cool to do a full podcast maybe on that at some point, but we still don't know what's happening.
I think we just like, I think there are better conversations being had by
more knowledgeable people.
Right.
Absolutely.
I don't want to act like I like know everything about this and I'm not watching Sacred or Defining Duke, which we both watched.
Absolutely.
And we're both getting information from. I'm not going to act like all my thoughts
Gooch,
are wholly original.
I came to all these on my own, and I have no outside information. It's just me. No, okay. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like I do have my own opinion of of things. I'm like, there's no way it's this bad. Like I just don't believe it, and I feel like we're gonna hear from Phil, and I feel like things will be put into place, and I understand there's going to be change, but I don't think we're getting like, imagine like there's a sandcastle in the sand and a shovel picks the sandcastle up and just plops it over. Like
I agree.
I don't think that's happening. Well, I feel like we're rebuilding some of our foundations here, but Xbox will continue.
I hear you, man.
Like at the end of the MCU
I hope so too.
Xbox will return.
Like, and who fills that void? Anyone?
Phil?
Say they, in a world where they do kind of phase out of hardware.
Nobody. Apple.
I think that's the only person I could see possibly hopping in.
And it's not going to be Apple. I'll tell you that much.
Well, they tried a while back.
They're not. No. There's no filling a console void, I think, at this point.
I mean, that's happened though a bunch, Gooch. Like, Sega went
Look
away.
at Ouya, Stadia.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
Like all these really small console things that really like amounted to absolutely nothing.
But if I don't know, man. If Xbox stopped making, and again, I don't think that's necessarily what's going to happen like right now. Xbox stopped making a console. I could see one of these tech companies jumping in, like full throat, because there is a hole. There's only one there. But I don't know. Do you think that's a whole hypothetical?
Do you think Xbox partners with a tech company to make their console from now on?
I don't think there's a point. I think they'll just sell the games on whatever console's made. I just don't think there's any money in that for them, or they don't see the money in that. I think there is, but
right, if they're not a hardware company, let's get a hardware company to do it.
Yeah,
is what
I'm
basically saying.
But I mean, when you get the bean counters.
Like, does that make sense? I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but then maybe not, because it's I don't know. That's manufacturing and all that stuff, obviously. But I don't know, man. The bean counters see some extra beans that can't be counted. They want those beans, and I think that's what's happening on the top floor of Microsoft right now. I mean, Xbox is like one of their most profitable brands.
Right.
It's gotten up
and I
there.
know there were layoffs recently, and
you mean all over the entire industry? Yeah.
True, but I mean,
there's more harsh.
within Activision, Blizzard, and Microsoft, Mikey Barra is gone from Blizzard, and I guess, listen, I have this is my professional experience. Actually, I have been a company who's acquired other companies. The leadership always eventually goes.
Sure,
it's just what happens when you are prideful of your work and you get acquired, and then that company who acquired you tells you to do this and that, and you have a problem with it. The leadership
things change, yeah.
Eventually will they don't get fired, but they're pretty much forced to leave.
Sure.
And that's just kind of the reality of mergers and acquisitions. I've literally been through a few of them, and I've watched what has happened as the person doing the acquiring and forcing new processes on, people who have a way of doing things and don't want to do them this way and want to do them that way. It's like, well, we own you. You have to do them this way.
Yeah, this is what we're doing now.
Right.
We're the company. Yeah. It's tough. It really is.
Well, on that dapper of a note, on a downer. I don't know why I said dapper.
It's not very dapper. It's sad.
Yeah. On that downer of a note, let's get into our main topic, the games that made us. Of course, we're going to be going back through our gaming history. Me and Trio's, our history.
The games that made us, Gooch, if you will.
The games that made us, if you will, like Trio just said. So we kind of compiled a list of games that sort of had like an impact on us for various means and reasoning, and like I have a lot of different examples of stuff, but it's gonna be fun. Like a ton of these games we don't really talk about ever.
Definitely.
Some are not really relevant IPs or really kind of times that we are gonna reminisce on, like, what it was like growing up in that era. And it was funny making this list and kind of like looking at the Xbox 360 era of things and how much has changed and how that era was such a cornerstone for me, and I think like games as a whole. It was really kind of cool.
I think for our generation in general, to be honest.
Yeah. And these will be in like,
I just put mine in chronological order.
Mine are in like a rough timeline order, because there's a lot of stuff that like overlaps, especially in the beginning of when I started playing games, and like when I was playing these things. Like obviously, like some of these games came out, and I was getting to them years later, and
absolutely same
things
here.
Overlap with others. But I guess what's clear from my list is I guess I've been gaming longer than you have.
For sure. Like I mean, dude, I started like I didn't have my own console. So I was probably like 10 or 12.
What was your first console?
We had a PlayStation, I think, when I was really young. And then, we had an Xbox because I played Combat Evolved on it. And then my brothers took it, and I would play a lot of games from then. Yeah, and then I went
Fucking
on.
Assholes.
I played a lot of like I have on here. I have Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper. Like those were like really the earliest games I remember playing and being like, "Whoa, this is fucking awesome!" You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like really kind of setting up that like, I want to play these. I want a game.
And like for me, I played on PC first. Some of my first memories and some of my first picks are PC games. And this is something I never talk about, and I almost show no affinity for Sega, but my first system was a hand-me-down Genesis.
I have vague memories of having a Sega too.
I had a Sega Game Gear. A family friend of ours just gave it to us, and like that was my first system. And I had like Sonic, I had one of the X-Men games, the Jurassic Park game, a Spider-Man game,
all the licensed games.
But I didn't buy any new games.
Yeah.
Like I just had the games I got, and that was it. But I remember I also had a Sega Game Gear, and fuck, why we got rid of that shit beyond me. Well, that definitely wasn't my doing. My dad probably tossed all of it.
You don't know back then, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
But none of that stuff made it into here. But because really my first console that I owned that was mine was my PS2, which we'll get into. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about those games and kind of ping pong between Trio and I, and we have some overlap, and I guess we'll see where we get.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So. We'll start off with me because I guess I'm first.
Get into your earliest stuff. Let's hear about that.
Yeah. So this one, if you were at the Too Many Games panel or you watched that panel, it shouldn't be too surprising. But my first video game experience was Unreal by Epic Games. Came out on the PC in 1998, and I played this game probably when I was like, well, I watched it technically. I didn't play it. When I was like 5 or 6, so this was like 2000, 2002. I was born in 95. For context, this is my first gaming experience. I watched my dad play it a lot rather than playing it myself, so I kind of got like mystified and really interested just watching him play. It's a first person horror shooter. Again, Epic Games, this is their first game, more or less their first game of consequence where Unreal gets its name. Cliff Bleszinski, Tim Sweeney were involved in this project. Tim Sweeney now being the CEO of Epic, and Cliff Bleszinski sort of being a bit of a washed-up rock star.
Little whiner.
Yeah, little whiner, a little bit. You know, I love to love him, love to hate him. I think he's got some good qualities.
Created some amazing games, for sure.
Yeah. But Unreal was like, I have a lot of really vivid memories of watching my dad play, being very scared of it, but still like...
I didn't realize it was a first-person horror game. Unreal?
It's very scary.
Interesting.
But it's a first-person shooter.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
but it has like horror elements.
I see.
Just like Gears.
Right, okay. All right.
Same sort of vibe. And like I remember like I had like my toy guns and I like pretend to like shoot the Scarj, as I call them. It's SKAARJ. I've heard people call them Scar. And I'm like, I've always just called him Scarj. Killing the monsters and like, just like the sounds and like the soundtrack being like really interesting, but like scary at the same time. But like, I still watched. And I think he ended up beating that, but that is my first gaming memory. And the Too Many Games panel was about me wanting a remake for that, which I still want. And especially with the $1.5 billion they just got from Disney, I'm sure Epic could probably swing it. But yeah, that is one of the games that made me Trio. What's your first one?
I got Sly. These ones, it's funny. I don't remember.
Oh, by the way, we're back with physical.
Yeah, we got some
paper
packets here. Yeah, I think like earliest stuff genuinely is Sly Cooper for me. I remember playing that over like my friend's house, and just going through all the different levels, and really just kind of inspiring me to want to play games more. And Jack and Daxter, I feel like those kind of blend together. Those like first, platformers that were really big on the PlayStation. Again, I didn't have my own console. I really don't think I had my own console until the 360.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So my parents, they wouldn't get me one for a while, and
really,
I just don't think we could get one at the moment for various familial reasons and things like that. But yeah, so I mean, GTA 3 was another big one up there for me. Those were like just incubating memories for me of like playing these games and being like, this is fucking awesome. I want to play video games all the time. And I mean, of course we know
I want to make this my personality.
Yeah, this is my personality now. Like, and of course we know Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, those are both Naughty Dog, right? Or is only
Sly Sucker Punch,
right?
Jack and Daxter's Naughty Dog. And Jack and Daxter was one Christmas of 2001 when I got my PlayStation 2 from Santa. He crafted it himself. Jack and Daxter and the Precursor Legacy was one of my first games that came with it, as well as Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
What a classic.
Have to shout that out. But yeah, I remember that morning like playing Jack. vividly. Like I remember like most of that morning. It was definitely one of the first games I 100%. I remember getting the secret ending when like the portal opens at the end, and it's just like, oh, like nothing. And then Jack 2 comes out, and the whole series kind of takes a bit of a mature turn. And it was probably one of the first third person action games I played that was like a collectathon.
Right.
Like I didn't have N64, so I wasn't playing like Mario 64 and like, you know, a lot of those collectathon titles that are on those systems. But if we take a step back, another game that sort of lives in my core childhood memories, Tomb Raider: The Last
Last Legacy.
I don't know what I'm trying to say. Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation, which is by Core Design, came out on a PC in 99, and I probably played this like in a similar time in Unreal, age 5 through 7, like 2000, 2003. My first Tomb Raider game, my first intro to Lara Croft, obviously third person action adventure. I watched my dad play a lot of this, but I also ended up playing it myself, never beat it. But this was my first Tomb Raider game. This is where my affinity for Lara Croft kind of came into being. Also sort of cemented my love of ancient Egypt and archaeology and Egyptology, and that would later be cemented by another game on this list, also by The Mummy. So like I was just like really like eating up all this like ancient Egypt media that was like actually came out all at the same time.
Right.
I mean, we really haven't had like an Egyptology or Egyptian mythology renaissance, like especially like think about like Norse mythology. How much Norse mythology
and that like kicked up out of nowhere. I felt like it was like one year it was nowhere.
Same with the you know the Egyptology stuff.
True. No, definitely.
Yeah, the same kind of thing with there.
It's just wild how saturated the Norse thing is now.
Yeah,
like,
it's like oh my god, another Loki thing.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah. No, there's a lot going on there. Anything else on that one? I don't know.
No, yeah, you're good.
So next up, one of the earliest like open world gaming memories I have is probably GTA 3, and just fucking around, messing with the cheats and everything. I was too young to comprehend why that game was so cool. You know what I mean? But like I just remember I was like, this is like, but I feel like I still did even back then. No, I'm like, this is wild. This is cool. I can't believe I can do all this shit in a game. I can go anywhere in a city. I couldn't get off the first island because I didn't know what to do. I didn't really follow the story at that point because I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, like, same thing for my games. Like, I never beat Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation.
Yeah.
I don't even think my dad beat it. I know we beat Unreal, but, like, yeah, like, you have no concept for narrative, just, like, the cool factor.
Yeah, I'm like,
really...
how do I get the jetpack? What do I do?
Right.
Jay,
like, how do I get the
that?
rocket launcher? Yeah.
Jay, can you come do the code for me? I can't do up, down, left, right, back. Like, I could never do the cheat codes. Yeah, man, those are definitely some of like the earliest, most fun and wild memories of just like messing around with what a video game could possibly be. And then, you know, GTA Vice City was kind of mixed in there a bit, but for a lot of the same reasons.
and I played GTA 3 and GTA Vice City at other people's houses.
Yeah.
My old friend Chris Marnelli, shout out to him. I'll mention him again with Halo, but playing GTA at other people's houses was like, because I couldn't get that.
Sure.
I didn't have older brothers, you know?
Yeah.
M games, I once I have a funny story. When my mom took me to GameStop. And
you tricked her.
I didn't trick her.
Yeah, sure.
I God rest her soul. I think I'm like, I just wanted God of War. And I'm like, I don't think mom and dad are going to mind.
Yeah.
And though they minded. My dad, like, I was like playing, I think I was like just put it in, and I'm like, hey dad, look what like mom got me. And he's like, oh, you know, like, what, she got that for you? We're returning it. I returned it and I got something else.
There was one time when
but like that was like my first attempt at getting an M-rated game. And again, this is like probably like 2003 or 4, so I'm like 7 or 8. It really, what the M-rated games were not accepted until I got my 360. That was the line.
Yeah.
Where my parents just were like, okay, fine.
No, it is interesting.
You know?
My parents didn't, like, it's funny. I didn't really start buying a ton of games until I got my own, like, income. Like, when I was, like, really in high school. So, like, I didn't have to get, and like, whenever I got free, like, whenever I got money for birthdays and stuff, that my parents never bought me video games because they were like, you don't need another video game. I don't know. It was annoying.
I do. Wow.
Yeah, god damn it.
You fucking.
But it is fun.
Sorry.
No, she's not, Gooch. I will kill you. Yeah, I don't know. I think it really is funny thinking back how I really didn't have my own console till 360, really. And
It's really late too.
Yeah.
Like again, like a lot. Like again, my first few games are, PC and PS2. Like, that's like 10 years almost. No, that's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years before.
Yeah.
The formative years.
No, and don't get me wrong. It was for lack of trying. I was like, I wanted one so bad for a while.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if the 360 was a big deal. Getting the 360 was a big deal. I was like,
whoa. Yeah.
Well, it was funny because I think I wanted a PS3 because I had a PS2. But all my friends were getting Xbox, and I think Xbox was cheaper.
It was. PlayStation was 600, I think. And Xbox was only like,
and that's why I ended up
400.
getting 360, and I'm like, no regrets there. I think that ended up being the better move.
I agree.
For me.
What about you? Anything else on the games, the earlier games?
Yeah, so we mentioned Jack and Daxter, so
Right.
now we're moving into the PS2 era. We're really out of... Now I have a console. I have experience. I'm actually playing the games pretty hardcore. We mentioned Jack and Daxter, but of course we have to mention Kingdom Hearts 1 by Squaresoft, what would eventually become Square Enix. This is for PS2 in 2002. I played this at age 8, and I remember when I got it, it was Easter, the year it came out. I had played Kingdom Hearts at 2 different friends' house numerous times. My old buddy Anthony Angelucci and an old friend of mine, Matt Hayward, and I was exposed to Kingdom Hearts like probably the first few hours I played already before I got it myself, and I was just like, this is fucking awesome. But it wasn't the Disney stuff that really got me into it. Like, it was like everything else. Like, the Disney stuff just happened to be there, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Like, for some reason, it's just like...
The anime stuff on it, right?
Yeah, like really interested me, and the graphics and the opening, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta get this. And my mom, well, I don't know if my mom got it for me. Like, I don't know the situation, but it was in my Easter basket. Essentially how I got it. But it was like, one of the first games that I sort of coined like it had backstory, even though it like really didn't.
Right.
I think I was thinking about it when I put this on my list. I think I just identified that the characters were complex. Is really what
Makes
I
sense.
meant by when the characters had backstory.
Right.
I think I just
you were like,
recognized that.
there's a rich story here.
Right.
But you didn't know how to
right.
put it into words.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is actually the first time I ever like really thought. I'm like, what did I mean by that?
Yeah.
Because like that wasn't true.
Yeah.
Like there was no like backstory. Like this is the first Kingdom Hearts. Like there's nothing before it. And I'm like, no, it's probably just like the emotions,
The deepness
characters.
and the
Yeah. That it wasn't. It was much more different from being like just the surface level hero and like look at Jack and Daxter. There's not much emotion or characters in any of those characters in that game. And of course the graphics were definitely big. All those Japanese games, it was like, holy shit, like how does this look this good?
Right. Wild shit.
But Kingdom Hearts is definitely a game that made me for sure.
I love it. And yeah, last one on like my earliest gaming memories probably is Halo Combat Evolved. Just because, like, I remember,
Can I see your pen?
I have these vague memories of, not vague, actually pretty noticeable memories of just like sitting on at my first house when I was really young, before we even moved to Malin. We used to live behind Marple High School, and we built like an extension off the back, like a sunroom, and I remember playing that in the sunroom with our Xbox. And just being like, what the fuck is happening? Master Chief looks so cool. There's aliens coming in everywhere. The shooting's awesome. I had never, I think, played something like that before, genuinely. And I mean, just seeing where it goes from then on, it could not be a more like consequential, I think, series for me and possibly our generation growing up. In a lot of ways.
Yeah. So I played Halo. Halo Combat Evolved is on my list as too. I played it on Xbox and PC. I have a bit of a different history with this. So probably in 2001 to 2003, ages 6 through 10, 2001 to 2003, is when I was probably playing these games. And I went to my buddy Chris's house, and that was when I first got exposed to Halo. I remember the Pillar of Autumn level. I remember being very scared of it. Especially
The flood stuff scared me.
not the flood stuff because I didn't get there yet.
Yeah.
The elites, you know, like the,
They're behind. Yeah.
like the noises they made freaked me the fuck out. Like they still kind of creep me out.
Yeah.
Like they're still like I'm playing them like, you know,
Well, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like the elites were like, you know, and the way they moved and the way they like came at you was like really scary.
That is funny.
But not only the campaign, and I remember we ended up beating it one day. You know, playing it a few different times over his house. But I remember like when we beat it. But I also remember the 4-player co-op sessions we had.
100%.
Like
yeah,
we'd go
yeah.
over, and it was like, dude, we're gonna play fucking Halo. And I remember I used to call the carrier floods that like blow up popcorn guys. I think I mentioned this during our re-threes.
Makes sense.
A kid who I haven't seen in years named Nick Achavati. He used to go to Pius with me, and he left, but he like dubbed that name the popcorn guys, and like we that's
Just
like that's
ran
what,
with it. Yeah.
That's just what we called them. But yeah, a ton of co-op sessions on campaign and you know multiplayer sessions on LAN with, you know, playing with the Duke on the original Xbox. And I wouldn't play Halo Combat Evolved for myself until it came out on PC in 2003, and that's when I played through it for the first time.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you when I fully played it through by myself. I don't. Again, it's like these weird vague memories of
Right.
the first mission where you're blasting through and the elites come through the door. They're like, "Sss," and you see them. I think for the first time, it lives in my head for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else on the earliest gaming stuff for you, Gooch?
Yeah. I was gonna say that was yours, but it came back over to me with Halo.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. This is a game I played both on PS2 and GameCube. I think it was on Xbox as well. This came out in 2001, and I probably played it age 8 to 10, 2003 to 2005. This was my first true, I think, couch co-op experience where my neighbor at the time, I used to live in Lawrence Park near Pius. Like the house before, so we moved to near Paxton Hollow Middle School, and then my parents got divorced while we were in the house, but this is the house before that. And my neighbor named Anthony Minardi, shout out to him and his brother Steven, we used to get together and play Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance like together.
Oh, wow.
So we beat he had it on GameCube, and I'm not even sure like how he started playing it or like why he even got it. But Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is like an isometric action CRPG. So it's not as like nitty gritty as like Baldur's Gate 1 or 2 or even 3, but you're a wizard, you're a ranger, or you're like a fighter, and you just like, you know, you equip weapons and you fight, and you have like some abilities.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like Diablo.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
A little less loot focused, but
Sure.
there's loot and stuff, you know,
Right,
like they
right.
drop gold and stuff and you pick it up. But yeah, we played this co-op on GameCube and we beat it, and then I eventually got it myself and I think we played co-op on PS2, but I beat it solo on PS2. And that game, yeah, was just like one of my first like true co-op experiences where, you know, we get together and we'd play the game, and, you know, we're freaking the fuck out, and like we had really close calls, and we're running away from monsters, and, you know, just like the whimsy of that age of playing games. It's so much different than it is like will be 5 years later and it is now. It's like that's kind of one of the things when we get to that 360 gen that's going to be interesting, because it's just like I think that those games are really defined by the times that they came out.
Sure.
Like, you know, this like early pre-social media era where like it still was like old
We're
school.
getting
but
into like the HD consoles.
we're like moving into that, but like sort of like a modern time.
Yeah, technologically and culturally. Yeah, for sure.
But what's next for you?
So now I'm moving. I don't have anything else in my early gaming memories. We're all through that.
We're still pre 360 for me.
Okay. So yeah, I guess for me, like earliest stuff, like these things I didn't play when they came out, but like the earliest games I played, like that, you know, release wise, was probably like, you know, Star Wars, like the oldest one. So, you know, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, I got to give it a lot of credit for just like expanding my horizon on what kind of RPG I'd like to play. Mm-hmm. It's funny because a lot of these RPGs when I was younger, I think I tried to start playing them. This goes the same for even like Elder Scrolls. I try them once. I just don't know what I'm doing. I get frustrated and I stop. And then I go back to them like a year later, like as I don't know, more adult-ish, more mature mind, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is awesome. Like there's so much to do here. There's so much to see, story-wise. I think that is one of the games that truly like implanted my love for RPGs in a lot of ways, and different RPGs. And it's such a fucking good game that will never get remade.
Yeah, and you talk about that a lot, so that was one that, like, of course, it had to
for
be
sure,
on
it's
your
a
list.
very formative game for me. Absolutely.
Yeah. Next one I have, we're still on PS2 for me. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. This is probably one you've never heard of. Came out in 2003 on PS2. Again, probably played this ages 8 through 10 in 2003, 2005. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy is kind of like a third-person adventure game. It's kind of like a Zelda type, a Zelda-like game. It takes place in like ancient Egypt, and you play Sphinx, who's like a Sphinx-looking humanoid animal hybrid dude.
Right, yeah.
And then the mummy, who is King Tut, and he gets like killed, and you play as him as a mummy, and he's like kind of like the goofy like sidekick character. So you're kind of like switching between Sphinx and the mummy, and the mummy's trying to escape, and like you're kind of aiding each other. Like Sphinx is getting stuff for the mummy, and this little, I forget he's like I think his name is Basket. He's like a basket guy, and he like you give him items and he like takes it to the mummy, and so then they get to play as the mummy, and you get like a new unlockable or a new ability or something like that, and it helps you like traverse puzzles and stuff like that. It got remastered, but only got like a Switch and a PC port, which is annoying. Because I want to get this.
Yeah, you will play that. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I have it. I own it on PC,
but you want the achieves.
Yeah. I want the full.
You want all the good. Yeah,
I want all the good.
I understand.
But yeah, another game that kind of like solidified my interest and my taste in Egyptology and Egyptian mythology and that sort of thing, and yeah, really, just really made that part of me that still kind of carries forth liking Egypt stuff.
I see. I love it. It sounds like a very like. You said it's puzzle based. Is it platformy too or anything at all? Okay, yeah. So that sounds about right. I love it. Very. Even like, Sly, Jack and Daxtery.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then next up for me, I think this is like, I played this on 360, but this was actually an Xbox game, was Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
Yeah. Splinter Cell was a pretty blacklist. Was pretty like dark part for me. Like I remember seeing Splinter Cell around, but I never really played it.
Yeah.
I still really never have.
I don't know what it is about those games. Like something about the stealth espionage drew me in, and that is a true stealth game if you'll ever find one. It's very classic in the way of you get caught and you're done. There's no big bang way you can go through a mission. Sam Fisher is such a cool and interesting character. Michael Ironside playing him is iconic. Those games did so much for the stealth genre, in my opinion. I think this kind of really solidified, again, my love for that genre and wanting more of it. They do so much in it with, like, the light system and even physics stuff. I remember there was one part in it, like, just I'm being blown away by this. Like, you'd shoot a fish tank. And where you shoot it at, like, if you shoot it lower or higher, the fish tank would drain to that.
This reminds me of like some mechanics in MGS2, and we'll ever get around to it.
And you just
there's
like,
some weird details. It's like, why did they go through all this length to make this so
thing of
immersive?
Like, it's those first seeds of that I didn't realize that I liked immersion in some ways, and I think they really, I'll get to it more when I talk about GTA 4 a little bit more. But those were the first things like, wow, I feel like I'm in the game. This is cool, Gooch. But yeah, man, if you've never played those games, I think Splinter Cell, it's an Xbox game. But if you're a stealth fan at all, it holds up for sure. I would definitely recommend going back to it.
So you didn't own a PS2? Ever?
No. I it's funny. My brothers might have had one. I really can't remember. Before the 360, a lot of it's shoddy for me. I don't remember.
But you played like PS2 people's houses.
We had an N60, exactly, and we had an N64 at one point. I remember that. I played those old Batman games, Batman and Robin. I remember I played somehow. I remember playing that down my basement. I don't know what that was on. Might have been on. We might have had a PS1.
You know what's funny though? I'm kind of well. Your brothers aren't gamers. At least
no,
now.
they were older too and stuff.
Right,
so,
but
yeah.
like I feel like having the older brother, like if they were closer in age to you, you probably would have been exposed to more.
Sure.
Or if they were more bigger
Yeah,
gamers,
for
like,
sure.
you know, they would have probably gotten you into the games that you liked, and like when they went off to college. How old were you? Middle school?
Mike, he would have been 18, so I would have been 8.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's fucking
it's
nuts.
the earliest.
Yeah,
And then Jay's 6 years away from me, so I would have been like a 7th grader when he went to college.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 7th,
Yeah.
6th.
So like in like the formative gaming years, they were.
It was all
they were
yeah.
gone.
It was all me, just figuring it out, and it's funny to think about.
Yeah, because like obviously I don't have an older brother. I have a younger sister, but yeah, it was my cousins and my friends that it was really. If I wasn't playing it myself, I was
Sure.
finding games out through them. Next up on my list, I have Final Fantasy X for PS2. Came out in 2003. And I probably played this ages 8 to 10, roughly 2003 to 2005. Similar to Kingdom Hearts, and I don't have Kingdom Hearts 2 in here because I feel like it's like just Kingdom Hearts repeat in a way. This is my first Final Fantasy. It's my favorite Final Fantasy. It's the first game I cried at. I remember crying into the end of Final Fantasy X and being like, "What is going on?" Like I'm like this story is like super heavy, very emotional, tough to understand as a fucking like 10-year-old kid. Like I'm not sure what I mean. I know I didn't grasp the whole thing, but like when I got to the end and like finally beat it took months. Final Fantasy games are so hard. You know, even Kingdom Hearts was really difficult. That's one thing we haven't really mentioned, like well, maybe we did a little tangentially, but like the difficulty of games back then, you getting your brother to do something for you, like that was, you know, obviously like how to, like if nobody was playing it, I think I only had a few friends who were playing Final Fantasy X. So, and I wasn't looking things up on the internet yet. I was too young for that. I don't even think I really like understood.
And I don't even think much of that stuff even existed.
You know, I would be like, I need to get the strategy guide, and I had a ton of strategy guides as a kid. Final Fantasy X probably cemented, or maybe Kingdom Hearts more so, cemented the idea that I needed a strategy guide to play these games because it would help me like when I got stuck. And that kind of started a trend of like all these Japanese games I would always get strategy guides for.
I love it.
Yeah, but strategy guides are such a thing of another era too.
They still are out there a little bit, right? But not
bit,
nearly to the degree that they used to be.
Well, now I have no idea. Like I think the last strategy guide I got was for like Final Fantasy 15.
Now I'm all curious, but continue.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking just as I enter the 360 era. Halo 3 is my first 360 game. I have 3 more games in between that. Do you want me to get through those
let's
games?
just do it. Yeah.
So then we're in the 360 era
perfect,
together. Yeah. Okay. So 2 MMOs. Guild Wars. I first discovered the first Guild Wars, like World of Warcraft, I had to pay to play that game.
Yeah.
So mom and dad weren't having it. They didn't want to put the credit card in.
No way.
Weren't about it. So I played like the WoW free trial, but I didn't play until years later. So Guild Wars was the next best thing. Buy the box, play the game, no sub fee. That came out on PC in 2005, and I played it from 10 till 17. So 2005 to 2012. I played Guild Wars on and off, not the whole time.
Right.
Me and Tim Appleby, a friend of the show, former host, we met because we played Guild Wars together in 6th grade when I switched to Paxson from Catholic school. And Guild Wars is something that has really followed me through most of my life because I ended up playing Guild Wars too. But yeah, I remember summer 5th grade, like tearing through that with Chris Boyle, Cullen Boyle. They all played. I got a lot of people into Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2 at certain points, but I have like vivid memories of being on like 5th grade summer vacation and just like playing Guild Wars 2 like there was no tomorrow. Like I'd wake up.
Those were the days, man.
I would stay home alone. Oh my god, dude.
You go to bed, wake up, and then just play more, and then go to bed, wake up, and just play more.
Yeah, no responsibility. All I had to do was go to the pool and like do like the math and summer reading
exactly.
shit.
It didn't matter.
Yeah, but I remember so I was staying home alone and so was my sister, but like, I wouldn't have to go to like my mom's anymore.
Right.
I could like stay home and like take care of myself and just play video games. Like I woke up, like did something. I just remember like the way the sun came in the room, and I'd usually have like cartoons on and like the TV in the background, or like, you know, some like MTV show or some shit. And yeah, just playing a lot of Guild Wars. And same thing with World of Warcraft. I would eventually start playing that in 7th grade. This came out in, I think I have 2006 here. Maybe I thought Guild Wars, or I thought World of Warcraft was like 2004. So maybe I'm wrong about this. But so it came out in 2004, but I played WoW from 11 to 14, so 2006 to 2009. Oh my God, playing World of Warcraft again, like just so many nostalgic memories and like weird, like summer vacations and like, you know, my first experiences with the game and raiding and kind of being in like playing with people online before like that was really like a
right,
like a
the
thing.
norm,
right? Yeah, and like meeting people online and, you know, kind of figuring out this game as like a young kid. Yeah, and what I would do is I would like get allowance to buy like time cards, so I would go to GameStop and buy the 3-month subscription, and I put the code in, and that's how I played. Instead of putting the credit card in, I would buy the time cards.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I have a lot of vivid memories of like riding my bike up to Lawrence Park GameStop to buy cards.
I love it. Just won't happen again. That's just not
I mean,
how it works anymore.
I mean, I know they sell, like, you can pay subscription like that, but I don't think GameStop sells. Actually,
yeah, I thought they have a wall of
they
their, like,
definitely
cards and
do.
stuff. Yeah,
but they used to come in like a game box with the card in it instead of just like the card itself, like a gift card. That's pretty cool. And then. So, I don't know if you added any of the music game stuff. I have 2 music games.
I meant to add that, so I'm glad you brought them up. Yeah.
Guitar Hero 2 was probably one of my last PS2 games. Because I remember,
didn't realize that was PS2.
Yeah. I remember playing Guitar Hero 2 and World of Warcraft at the same time. So, Guitar Hero 2 came out in 2006. I played on PS2. So, I played this game at age 11 in 2006. I was like, I timed it up because I'm like, I definitely didn't play once 360 got out. That totally was not cool anymore.
Yeah.
But, oh God, the music genre.
It took over the world for a while.
What a time. Yeah, I mean, this was, you know, just going to people's houses and playing, you know, 2-player or whatever, and then eventually
get a whole band together.
Right. I mean, I guess I can skip to Rock Band too, because I didn't play Rock Band 1, but Rock Band 2 I got, you know, on 360, 2008, played it from 13 to 14 in 2009. What's good is I can look at my achievements now and see when I actually
That is nice,
played it.
actually. That's cool.
So that's what I did. Yeah, dude. Like, I remember how many you know, hangout sessions were coming over. We're gonna play Rock Band.
My
you know,
roommate
and that's what we did. Like, and like Guitar Hero 2 led to Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah.
Chris Martinelli was like one of the only kids I knew who could do Through the Fire and the Flames on Expert. And Guitar Hero 2 just kind of started that, and like the SG and that.
And then you got Rock Band coming in with just the whole band set, which is amazing. And I mean, dude, it sparked my love for drums. I will even say that. God, I would love to get another Rock Band session going. My roommate and I, Ian, we used to play religiously. We had a band, we would tour around in the game, of course. It was a blast. And I'm happy to see, we were talking about earlier, that they're getting new guitar controllers coming out, and I would love to see that evolve into maybe they release a new drum set and something like that, because they don't need to release a new game.
I was just gonna say, there's no way
that they did they release a new game or just in No, I don't think you need to. The Rocks they just put out their final update for Rock
I was just
Band
gonna
4.
say, yeah.
So that's weirdly kind of lines up with like
sorry, go
no,
ahead.
it's okay. It's weird that could weirdly line up with if they do want to start working on something new, but that seems like more of a platform thing that you just continuously update. But if I could buy new controllers that work with my old game, I'd do that 100%.
There were so many like spin-off Guitar Hero games, like the Beatles DJ Hero, the Guitar Hero World Tour. There was Guitar Hero
Green Day Rock Band. Oh, maybe
I don't know.
I thought it was Green Day Rock Band.
There was a Rock Day,
Green Day
Band, Green Day, or Guitar Hero
Beatles
Green
Rock
Day.
Band. Yeah. I think there was Guitar Hero Aerosmith was one.
Yes,
and there was maybe one other Guitar Hero one, but yeah, it was the Beatles Rock Band and Green Day
and
Rock
that's
Band.
kind of where it started going downhill. Like, I didn't get Rock Band 3. I think it was like we were just not playing it anymore.
The zeitgeist, it just faded out for some reason. I don't know.
It really, in my opinion, ended with Rock Band 2. Yeah. Rock Band 2 was the last one. I know a few people who got like Guitar Hero World Tour and stuff like that. I think that was because
that's when they did
4.
the full they did the full band set for World Tour. Because they only had guitar on Guitar Hero until like Guitar Hero 3.
Right.
Then Rock Band introduced the whole set with they introduced the drum set, I guess.
It's so funny. Rock Band is such Rock Band. It's such a good name.
It is perfect. You couldn't get much better.
Yeah.
God, I have so many fond memories with those games, especially with my brothers and everything.
And it's funny, we didn't really we didn't meet we in this timeline we have not met yet.
No. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and cuz I'm sure we would have had a lot of jam sessions.
100%. And then I'll just knock through Blood Money, Hitman.
Yeah.
A fantastic game. Originally inspired my love for the franchise.
That wasn't on Xbox?
I think it was on both.
Okay.
It was cross-gen.
I looked at that.
I think it was at the time.
I remember that being on Xbox.
It's on both. So, I mean, a fantastically wonderful Hitman game. Lots of choice. The earliest time I remember having a lot of replayability within a stealth game. It's still a little bit more on rails comparatively to especially what we got now. But, man, what a fucking franchise and what a game indeed. One of my favorite stealth games. But what about you, Gooch? You want to move on to another one?
I think we're about to line up. So if there's one, let's talk about Oblivion.
Okay.
Yeah, my God, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
I hated it.
360, 2006. I only play. I feel like I played this game for years, but when I looked at the achievements, I played it only in the year. Sorry, I'm getting lost. 2008.
Wow.
I finished the entire game in like a few months. I had my Xbox for about a year at this point. A year and a half. I remember I had Gears, BioShock, Halo 3, and a few other games, but Oblivion was one of the first games I got for the 360. I don't know why. I picked up Oblivion.
You're just oh, interesting.
I guess if I had to guess, Fred might have been the reason why I got it. He kind of got games, and then I'm like, oh, like
this looks cool. Yeah,
right.
He was your Gooch.
He was my Gooch
for the time. Yeah, like because you have your friend that your friends ask you if they should get a game because you're the guy getting it. I'd have that happen to me for sure too. You're the gamer guy that they can be asked. Fred was your gamer guy that you could ask.
Right. Yeah, and we were talking on Xbox private chats for days.
Private chats. That's so funny.
Holy shit. Yeah, dude. What to say about Oblivion?
So there's not much that can't be said that hasn't been said already. It's truly like one of those, I think, trend-setting games in a lot of ways. Looking back, I think it's very important to the RPG genre in a lot of ways, especially the console RPG genre, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a goofy, weird little mess in a lot of ways, but god damn it, do I love that game, and I'll probably replay it until the day I die.
By the 9, stay on the road. It's the Daedra, you see.
It's just so much good
stuff. We
stuff.
can't remake that.
I think you can just put a new coat of paint on it.
Dude,
I don't think you change the mechanics. Like, I think everyone just looks a little bit better, but everything else is the same.
Like, dude, the voice acting, I think is just so iconic.
I don't think you change that.
Yeah, like those 7 voice actors who voiced the entire game. Like, that is wild. They're like, and I know, like, of course, Patrick Stewart and Sean Bean and the guy who did Mankar. Is it Mankar Cameron or is it
Mankar Cameron?
Yeah, Mankar Cameron. Like obviously, if they remade the game, they're probably not getting those guys back.
No.
So that's why using the VO would make more sense. But
I agree.
We're not talking about the remake. I just remember pouring so many hours into that and finding so many things and like talking to Fred and another guy named Jay Kaufman who Fred met, I think, on Halo back in the day, and he was like one of my first friends who we achievement hunted. Like we were like achievement guys. Like we really went for it. And I remember like sending like messages back and forth to him about like Oblivion and like finding like items and stuff. And dude, oh my God. And like I was into RPGs, but that was probably like one of my first, I guess, call it modern day RPG.
I would agree.
For like a lot of people. Because like I'm sure a lot of people skipped Oblivion and just went to Skyrim, but kind of knowing what Oblivion was, and then when a Skyrim got announced, and it was like, oh my God, we are in for like a piece of art here.
I still remember that night it was announced. I was on like a party chat with some people. I can't remember
Skyrim?
who it was. No, when it was announced the Game Awards.
Oh, dude, I was watching the Game
That
Awards with
night
Chris
we were
Boyle.
talking like on a party chat with someone, and we were like, when are they gonna fucking announce the next Elder Scrolls? It's been like 8 years. Like, or it was like the year before 2010, and then it was that night. It was so funny.
Yeah.
What a time.
Todd
They
Howard
come out
comes
with
out.
all the torches on stage. It was a cool reveal, man. It was a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Next up, I don't know if you had this on your list, Gooch. I had Bioshock.
I don't.
Of course, the original.
I have Infinite.
Yeah,
So that was like
which
that's one of the last ones.
Yeah, and
on my
I
list.
think Bioshock was one of those games that really kind of first introduced me to environmental storytelling in a lot of ways, and how well that can be done, and how effectively that can be done. And of course, the Andrew Ryan switch at the end can't be more iconic.
Mm-hmm.
What a fantastic game! Definitely contributed to how I feel about games for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
The big boy.
The big boy.
Halo 3, Xbox 360, 2006. I probably played this game from age 11 to 14, 2006 to 2009.
It was a time, man. Everyone was playing.
Oh my God. Halo 3 was a revolution in gaming, and would give way to a lot of other multiplayer games that we're going to talk about probably next here. I remember getting my Xbox for Christmas that year and being like enthralled. That's the Red Wolf Crusader was spawned on December 25th of 2006. And we've never looked back. I didn't have Xbox Live yet, so I remember playing like the first few sessions of Halo, like going through the campaign, and then I got Live after the new year, and I remember going back to school. Chris Martinelli was one of the people I played a lot of Halo 3 with, but like Joey was another one of them. Fred, so many people played Halo 3.
Everyone. It was like everyone.
Everyone in school played Halo 3, and it was like,
it was a true zeitgeist moment.
yeah, like we'd come into school and be like, dude, what rank are you? What rank?
Yeah.
I'm Brigadier General. Oh, dude, like, what?
Fuck,
Did you
yeah.
get the security armor? And did you get all the skulls, dude? The one on the Ark? I'm like, oh my God, like,
You can't be recreated in a lot of ways.
like, yeah, like I don't even like. I know, like. It's gonna be interesting to hear like the current kid generation talk about like Fortnite or whatever the fuck, but it's not the same.
Gooch, you're sounding like a
We're
real...
better.
We're better. I'm better.
And like the internet was like fledgling.
Sure.
And like again, like the multiplayer games weren't this big thing yet. They like this was the first one.
Yeah.
Like this was the really first one. Like I know Halo 2 was a big multiplayer game, but like Halo 3 kind of like really launched it into the atmosphere. And we never looked back.
We
Like,
never did.
played Halo 3 for years. ODST came out, and then we'd eventually leave Halo 3 for Reach. But like the mythic map pack, the heroic map pack, the legendary map packs, when those map packs came out, what a big deal, man. Rush to GameStop to get your Microsoft points, get your card, and put that bad boy in, and you're on that thing for days. Vetoing fucking maps, veto Snowblind, and all the memes and the videos that came out from that early time with
Custom
Halo.
games.
Yeah, what Shark and Jaws, like all the Infection game modes.
There was
that
so
would
much.
come
Ghostbusters.
out. Yeah,
There's so many.
Like, and it's a shame. Like I know, like that still kind of lives on in Halo today, but like it'll never be the same as it once was.
It will not be the same as it ever was, Gooch.
Same as
I can't really say much else on Halo 3. It's a generation defining game in a lot of ways. Up next is one of my, I think, truly seminal video games that constructed how I feel a lot about video games, and that's Assassin's Creed. Genuinely, like I just
on my
remember
list as
being
well.
blown away by that game and like the concept of it, and like, wait, you're playing as a guy in the present day, but he's using this machine to revisit his ancestors' memories.
I think this was another game Fred kind of got, and then I got because
there's like Templars, and you're this secretive assassin order, and you're trying to take down these 7 people, and they have all these interesting monologues that you go through when you kill them, and oh wait, I can press a button while these screens flash, and like it shows this whole different kind of angle of this death, and like there's all this.
God. I forgot that
Remember
was an AC1. That's so
like,
MGS3.
Yeah, it would be like if you don't do anything, but like because you'd be holding them there, and if you press A, it would be them standing up like as they're walking back and forth.
I wonder if MGS3 inspired that.
Could have. I wouldn't be surprised.
I fucking forgot about that.
But the care and attention to detail of the narrative, I'd seen it before with other games, but this is definitely one of the most seminal in the way of like, I just remember like craving a second game, Gooch. I was like, when is Assassin's Creed 2? Are they going to do a second one? When is it going to be announced? I just saw this whole fucking room full of hieroglyphs with the eagle vision.
Dude.
And I'm like, I am livid. I still remember before Assassin's Creed 2 came out. Well, I mean, I guess maybe we'll kind of hit those two both at the same time. Like, I just remember, like, I can't remember a more anticipated game for me, like, as a child. Yeah. Genuinely. Yeah. Like, for the whole year before, I was just counting the months. And, you know, I think that, like, happens, like, not to the same degree now, but it's hard to recapture that feeling of excitement of, like, when am I going to get this game? And the way that it evolves with Assassin's Creed 2 is truly fantastic and just so intriguing. It's a seminal. I can't say it again. It's a seminal game franchise. It really did. It's a game that made me.
And it made me as well. It came out on Xbox 360 in 2007, where we both played it. I played it at age 13 and 14, 2008 and 2009. I remember I got it in the summer of 2008. In July, I was actually the week I got it. I went to my last summer camp week ever.
Summer camp.
Did you do summer camps as kids?
No, not really.
Really?
Yeah, my mom didn't like that stuff.
I didn't, not go away camps, but just like a week.
Just drop for the,
Right, like either like 8 to 3 or 8 to 12.
Right, yeah, you're getting dropped off for the daytime.
Yeah, I did like those here and there, like not a lot, but this was the last one I did. It was actually at Valley Forge Military Academy, which is kind of fun.
Did they do paintball and stuff? I did that one. I did that one at one point too, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you did.
So I did do one. There was one. Yeah, I now remember. They're coming back to me slowly. That's like the only one I really specifically remember though. But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I did that, and I remember coming home from that, and I was like, I think I was like really like, I don't think I was vibing with the camp. I think I was just kind of over the whole camp thing at that point. Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, Mom, I think this is gonna be the last one I ever do.
Yeah,
you know, I'm getting old.
Yeah, I'm getting too old for this.
Yeah, and I remember coming home and playing Assassin's Creed 1, and we've talked a lot about it, AC. But that game, yeah, like there was something really different about it. Like either from the historical angle, from the animus angle of the narrative, the way the story was being told, and you jump between past and present, and that was just really different. And again, really, I was engaged narratively, like, you know, what's going on? And then you get to the end, and I remember finishing that game and immediately jumping on the internet and looking up like
what is this,
and like being like, you know, like drawing the symbols and be like, what, you know, Assassin's Creed 1 like ending, like what does this
mean?
Yeah, and kind of like I mean, like literally, like I didn't even shut the game off.
Yeah,
and I like went over to my computer and I'm just like, yeah, like trying to figure this out. I'm like, you know, like fucking freaking
You're the Charlie Day meme of him with the whole thing,
like, and I'm like, dude,
I need more.
Right. Like I need more.
Oh, God.
And I think Assassin's Creed 1 is probably the example of one of my first very difficult achievement hunts.
Interesting.
The flags.
Yeah.
The Templars.
Yeah.
No, there was no in-game guide for them. No telling how many you had or didn't have, or especially, no, actually it did tell you how many you have, but which ones you had, no way to know. You just had to go check. And I remember having to replay the game a few times because I couldn't find one flag, so I decided to start over. Conversationalist achievement where you have to talk to Lucy every time you can. I remember fucking that one up. I remember like Fred. He's coming up a lot on this podcast. Shout out to Fred Hassel.
Absolutely.
Friend of the show.
Took part in our Metal Gear Solid re-3.
Yeah, he did. He gave me his AC1 strategy guide map for the flags so I could do it. And I did it. With that.
You were like, thank God. That is why it is so funny that all that stuff, like we were saying, did exist just within paper form back then. Because, dude, even we'll get to Arkham here.
And I want to talk about AC2 separately.
Yeah, yeah. And even like Arkham, when I was trying to go back and find stuff for achievements on that, nothing. There's like barely anything on YouTube anyways. I think you can find more, but like there's like an IGN video.
Even for the remake, nobody did a guide?
No, I'm thinking, should I get on here and do this and get
Metal Gear actually has a similar issue where like everything, the guides for the game are all the HD collection from like 2011.
Yeah, it's weird. And then like there's one IGN video showing you like where the Joker teeth are. And it doesn't show you the map at all. It's like, here's where this teeth set is. And here's where this tooth set is. And it doesn't give you a map. It doesn't show you where you are at anything. It just says, this is where it is. And he walks up and hits it. Terrible. But anyways, it is just funny.
wonder if Colin did that guide.
I don't know. It was Dustin Legary narrating it.
Really?
Destin, yeah.
Like a 2010?
Yeah.
Destin
2009. Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
so funny. Hold on, just want to see where you're at.
No, I like it.
Okay, yep, go for it, Trio.
A little Call of Duty here, Gooch. I think these are as seminal to a degree as a Halo, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Everyone was on it at the time. It dominated the schools.
Yeah.
It definitely further catapulted first-person shooter games to like the forefront of, I think, just general audiences.
I want to talk about Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 together a little bit.
That sounds good. So yeah, I think we can hit those both right now. Like,
yeah.
I think these both, I just remember everyone playing them all the time. I actually, do you care if I bring in Black Ops into this a little too?
No, yeah.
So Black Ops, I think, was definitely the one for me that I remember like really digging into for some reason, especially with zombies. Like, I remember zombies having a hold on my life for that one.
I didn't play World at War.
Yeah, it's funny, I did a little bit.
I kind of missed out on that a little bit when like a lot of people, I was still as stubborn as I was back then with like everyone playing World at War, and I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to play it. But like, people playing World at War and we should have just got a second pen. Why are we sharing this pen? It's fine.
I was just thinking in the second.
No, I know. It's good.
I know. We
taking
commit.
the cap.
I'm sorry.
So just fucking leave it
Put
on
back.
there.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, like I didn't get World at War, but I did get Modern Warfare 2007. So I played this from probably like 12 to like 14.
Sure.
Up until Modern Warfare 2. But yeah, just like Halo, I think like the online atmosphere, not only with like people, I didn't actually meet a lot of people online from Call of Duty, but like everyone from school played it. I reconnected with a lot of people through that game, like tons of different party comps from either people at Marple or people that went to Pius who are now going to, O'Hara and stuff like that, and playing with people older than me and younger than me and stuff like that. I mean, again, we're like a year or two. Was it my sophomore year, your freshman year?
For what?
We met?
I think so. I want to say that.
Okay.
You started driving me in sophomore year, I want to say, because you were a junior.
I was a junior and a senior.
Yeah. So, geez, I can't remember. We might have met in middle school. Like,
no.
I think we met like when I was possibly an eighth grader and you
Brian, we met through Brian.
Yeah.
And that was probably like sophomore year or junior year for me.
Interesting, because I don't think I was hanging with Brian by then that much. Because I think we met through them, and then we kind of started talking more on our own and hanging out more often.
Right.
I think it was like end of middle school for me, beginning of high school.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think that's when we like started talking, and I feel like we became like good friends by the time and like where you were taking me to school was by the time you were junior year.
Yeah.
Which would have been 20. I graduated 2014. You were 2013. So what? That would have been 2011.
You know what?
Right?
Fuck. Maybe you're right.
I think it was that early, man.
But like, we didn't play Call of Duty together, right?
No, we really didn't. We started gaming together more as we got in high school. I think that's where we really kind of started talking.
I mean, I was in high school when Modern Warfare 2 came out.
When I was in high school,
yeah. Modern Warfare 1, I was in 7th or 8th grade.
Right.
No, I was in 8th grade when Modern Warfare 1 came out.
But yeah, I mean, what else can be said about Call of Duty? They're they're cornerstone franchises of gaming in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and like Modern Warfare 2, and it's funny talking about AC2. Those, when you were talking about buying games and like affording them for the first time, the AC2 and Modern Warfare 2 was the first time, so 2009, when I really pre-ordered a game and I like bought it with my own money.
Right.
That was the year my parents got divorced. So that was a really strange time in my life. But I remember probably having like all these friend groups and friends and playing Modern Warfare 2 and Halo still and kind of getting lost in Assassin's Creed and talking about another game, Dragon Age Origins. I played a lot that year. And I played for a few more years after that, like really distracted me in that time.
Sure.
So that was great. But yeah, dude. And it's so funny, like looking back, it's like, I don't think like, we only played Modern Warfare for a year, and then we went to Black Ops.
Yeah.
It was only a year, like, but that year does not feel like a year.
No, and it's funny because, again, I think, Modern Warfare
I got
stuff
to, like,
was a big...
10th Prestige in, like, a year, dude.
Yeah. It's all you're playing.
I was legit 10th Prestige.
Yeah, and you were always playing with everyone. Yeah, that's...
No J-tag here, buddy.
No J-tag.
I was legit. I got... there were so many people who, like, modded their Xbox and got the, like, 10th Prestige. Right. I was 10th Prestige legitimately.
I fucking love it.
Dude,
I don't remember how much. Again, I think
I had like 11
was the
days
big one
played
for me that I did a lot in and I played a ton of for some reason. Modern Warfare, I remember it a good bit, but not as
Black
much.
Ops, I played a lot. Like you said, played the zombies, but that's when things, I didn't get Modern Warfare 3. Things changed after that, unfortunately.
Sadly,
yeah, but. Yeah, Modern Warfare 2, man. In the story, too. Like, we're not really talking about
that's true. The story really was, like, major. And it was a major part
of the knife in the eye and no Russian.
So many iconic moments, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Modern Warfare has the Chernobyl mission, or Modern Warfare 2?
Wait, what is he? 10,000 people used to live here. Yeah. Now it's a ghost town.
Yeah. Dude, I would love to go. They did a remaster of that campaign, didn't they?
Yeah.
I would have. I might actually go back.
It's in the original, or it's in the remaster Modern Warfare.
I think you can buy
with Price and Macmillan.
Yeah, I think you can buy it a la carte now, but I don't know. Anywho, do you want to take the next one, Gooch? Or
I'm trying to think if there's anything I need else to say about Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 more than anything. Like I remember playing Modern Warfare a lot, but Modern Warfare 2 was definitely like, dude, whoever got home first from school, like to join up, and like sometimes your groups were like full or whatever, and like like whoever got home first jumped on the party immediately, and we were off to the races, man. Like I didn't really have that much sports responsibility. I mean, like I played golf in high school, but it didn't seem to take up that much of my time to a point where I like wouldn't play games. But dude, I just remember like racing home just to jump in a party and like start blasting away.
Get there going.
So much simpler
times, Gooch.
And like it's sad that like I think the last multiplayer experience I had like that was Battlefield 1.
Sure.
And like
that
maybe
was
Infinite for a few weeks.
It was like a month, I think, there.
But like Battlefield 1, like my whole group of friends, we all played it.
Yeah.
All
and that was nice because you could all play at the same time because they were such large games.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So good.
Do you want me to go for the next one, or do you want?
Yeah, I just got to see.
I think I have two more in between here. I guess that you wouldn't be talking about.
Yeah, let me talk about one more, and then we'll get to AC2. Fallout 3.
Okay.
Xbox 360, 2008. I played this at 14, 2009, maybe a little bit 2010, depending on the DLC. Actually, that's a lie. It was 2009 because I looked this up, looked up my achievements and when I got them. All those DLCs came out in a year, dude.
Wild.
Yeah. Wild. So story about Fallout 3. The year this came out in 2008, when I was in 8th grade, my Xbox broke. I had the E74 error. My hard drive busted. I had to send my Xbox back to Microsoft. My dad helped me out with that, I remember.
Right.
And they sent it back, and I got it fixed. But I did not have my Xbox for Christmas that year. I got Rock Band 2 and Fallout 3.
And just sitting there.
And I was itching. But I was playing World of Warcraft. Wrath of the Lich King came out. I got that I don't think I got that for Christmas. I think I just bought it. And I was playing that like in the meanwhile until my shit got fixed. But I was, I played WoW up until I totally like skipped on this. I played WoW up until like my freshman year of high school and quit cold turkey like it was smoking or something. Like just decided I would stop, and I really never went back to it. But I still like follow the lore. Anyway, Fallout 3, dude, I remember like when it came out and like until I got it for Christmas, just like the people talking about it. Fred, again, another game I think Fred influenced me to get. Like I just remember hearing so much about it, and I remember like seeing like the first few achievement. Like there's some I have like a memory of like the way 360 did achievements being so nostalgic. Like I remember like what achievements do you have? Oh, following his footsteps. It's like the first quest in Fallout 3. Yeah. And like oh dude, like exploring the Capital Wasteland and like getting out there and like kind of experiencing like one of like the mature games. Like again, like the Halo 3 was the M rating breaking point for me, and then I got whatever.
Right.
And that probably being, I mean, I had the DLC for Oblivion, but I think this being one of the first games that I really was paying attention to the DLC like as it dropped, and getting Microsoft points and buying it. Did you play Fallout 3 when it came out?
I did, not when it came out. After it's definitely, I think I got to it actually even after New Vegas because I finally like understood.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a good game. It was the same way with Oblivion. They didn't click for me at first because I just think I wasn't in the correct mind space yet.
You went into Megaton. Dude, when people went into Megaton, they were like, yeah, I just killed him. I'm like, you fucking idiot.
But again,
it's not how you play.
It's not what you're idiots. Yeah, again.
Like you can't do that.
Can't do that.
I mean, you really can't. Yeah. You just fuck up your old game.
Exactly. No, I have very fond memories with Fallout 3. I probably would have added it here if I thought about it. But I think Oblivion really kind of etches that spot for me in the way of like my RPG sensibilities, if you will.
Yeah.
Which I mean, again, that they are basically the same.
Your bread and butter.
Exactly.
They made you, if you will.
Absolutely. But yeah, Fallout 3, man, fantastic, an amazing game. I love all the DLCs for it. The Mothership DLC is one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, Mothership Zeta, Operation Anchorage, Point Lookout, and The Pit.
Yeah, good stuff.
Fucking all stellar
stuff indeed. I'll knock out these next two real quick. GTA 4 I kind of already went into earlier as I was playing.
Yeah.
For the multitude of reasons. That's a fantastic game. But really the only other thing I kind of want to pick up on that is I remember this being like the first game that I truly understood like immersion and why I really enjoy it and why it makes a game better. Like just even the way you'd always walk through with those Rockstar games. You're always walking. You're never running. The environment's super active. There's so many little details going on. Things that you can miss conversationally. It's a fantastic game that still holds up to this day. But then after that is Batman Arkham Asylum. And man, I think it truly is partially one of the inspirations for my love of the character of Batman. Genuinely. It showed you that you can make a game related to these characters that isn't necessarily attached to a movie or something like that. Isn't just a what's the word? Not commercialized, but a movie tie-in game or something like that. Mm-hmm. They took this character, created their whole new version of it, built it out with all of these concepts and all these different backstories and all of these character designs and everything. It's a truly fantastic and amazing game that holds up to this day and really kind of showed me that these games are doable and possible. And it's funny that we didn't get another game that even sort of matched up to it in this genre until Spider-Man. Like it's weird.
Yeah,
I mean, we got
really
some
strange.
other ones in the middle there, but nothing like on that level.
Like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like is like a very
It's a fighting game.
close second.
Maybe
Not
but
MVC.
Like, yeah, it's
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the beat 'em up.
Definitely.
game,
Yeah. To a degree, for sure. But even this is just the way, just how seriously it takes the source material and how well it seems to understand it. And I mean, having Paul Dini write it, and Kevin Conroy come back. All of the
I was not into superheroes when that came out.
No, I wasn't. And I mean, I wasn't like, I thought Batman was cool. I think that was post like The Dark Knight. And I was like, ooh, Dark Knight was kind of cool. And I was like, oh, Batman, this looks like a cool game.
Right.
And I played the demo on Xbox. And I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. And yeah, man, I got it. It was a fantastic game that, like I said, still holds up to this day wonderfully. Next up, though, Gooch, is another seminal one, I would say. Right?
Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah.
2009, 360. I was age 14. 2009 mostly, but the DLC also came out, so 2010 a little bit. Yeah, so just like Modern Warfare 2, this came out when my parents got divorced, so I was really like entrenched in AC2 while that was going on. You know what I think a lot of people don't talk about? We really needed a second pen.
It doesn't matter. Just stop talking about it. Just keep going. That's okay.
We
It doesn't.
what I think something about AC2 that people don't talk about is the Italian representation. That I think just because Italian people are white is probably why people aren't talking about it, honestly. But like, what other game like actually deals with the any sort of Italian culture like AC2 does? And like that's kind of why I connected to it. I'm like, dude, I'm like that Game Informer cover. Oh my god, the two hidden blades, like
The first trailer too, the CG trailer.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, Italy? Italian? I'm Italian. You know, like I like personally identified with that. And that was like a really big cultural moment, I think, for me, of being like, oh, like this is like my culture, like in a way. I mean, I know I'm not, you know, I'm Italian American, but
Sure.
you know, like seeing that being represented in a game was really cool. And of course the story of AC getting bigger and better for a little while with AC2 and, you know, the two hidden blades, and
It was such an organic growth.
Yeah,
I don't think
it just felt so right.
It did.
Yeah,
It all worked so perfectly, and the way they expanded upon different, you know, game mechanics and reined other ones in. It's one of the masterpieces of gaming, in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah, this 360 era is just, there's so many bangers, so many different titles really coming into their own, and we haven't really seen an era of uniqueness and individualism like we saw with the 360, when like games were kind of just like really doing their own thing, not necessarily like copying off each other all the time, or like I feel like, okay, we have all these like Zelda likes, like there just seemed to be a lot more
people swinging for the fences.
Yeah, not necessarily like knowing that they're gonna make like
exactly
a triple A
making the
banger.
attempt.
Yeah, like
Right.
it just like, and again, we're like entering the era of like triple A-ness, but like the double A idea was still like there
Still
from the
pretty
PS2
prevalent, yeah.
generation, or that, you know, yeah. What's up next for you?
I think the game that started my love for horror games, Gooch, the Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
And I showed you this.
And you did.
Yeah.
And I like didn't know that I would like these games. I didn't know about these games before Amnesia. I didn't realize this was a genre unto itself.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of kickstarted the modern day horror
Absolutely. And, you know, it's an interesting game. It's a different type of mechanic that I never experienced before. It gives you that same kind of adrenaline rush as a horror movie in a lot of ways, but in a way that you're in control. And they are just so immersive in a lot of ways too, especially with the Amnesia games. I mean, I think that's pretty immersive for its time in the way of how many things you can interact with and things like that.
Have you gone back to that recently?
Yeah, I played it last year.
Yeah, does it hold up?
I think so.
Okay, yeah,
Don't get me wrong. It's still old in certain ways, for sure. But
when we were first kicking around Re3, Amnesia was one of the first ones I wanted to do. And maybe we still will do it, who knows. But like I would like to replay Amnesia and Justine and Machine for Pigs. Especially Machine for Pigs. I fucking hated that game the first time I played through it. So I wonder if replaying
I think there's some parts to love about Machine for Pigs, but they just take away so many of the elements from the first game that made it so unique, in my opinion, especially when it comes to like
and that was
your resource management.
It Chinese Room?
The China Room or
yes.
Chinese Room or something like that, I think.
Yeah,
I think that was literally it.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely begun my love for the horror genre, and I'm still here kicking every day ever since.
I'm gonna combine these two just for pace, but Dragon Age Origins, which I played, both these games I played on 360. Dragon Age Origins in 2009, I played that from 13 to 18, 2009 to 2013, and then Dragon Age 2, which came out in 2011, and I played that from 16 to 18, 2011 to 2013. These two games are probably the games I played most, upwards of 10 times each.
Really?
Yeah, because I was really obsessed. This was like BioWare doing the save import thing. So I was kind of like creating like different saves for Inquisition that I ended up never using.
I feel like that doesn't happen anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Like they were the only ones to really, even with Mass Effect, which
Witcher,
we'll get to here.
Witcher 2
Witcher does.
to 3
Yeah, that's a good call.
It.
But it is just funny.
Yeah.
It really didn't take off as much as you would expect, you know?
I mean, like, I don't even know if I'd say that. I think there's just kind of issues with it.
I think that's what it is. It's just, it complicates things
The
to such a degree.
The Walking Dead Telltale games had to do it.
I think it's just a hard thing to do, honestly.
Yeah, like they would import your saves.
Yeah. And just lining up your whole story that way. Like, I mean, the fact that we'll get
relying
to Mass Effect,
on like you to literally have your save data.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's different.
Yeah. But Dragon Age Origins, you know, this is by BioWare. They did Knights of the Old Republic. They did some Baldur's Gate games. So Dragon Age Origins is probably like the most Baldur's game, D&D game you could get at the time, especially on PC where it was probably better.
Right.
Actually, it's kind of funny. We talk about that. You know how like BG between console and PC, they're pretty different.
Yeah.
Like in some sort of way. Same thing with Dragon Age Origins on console and PC.
That makes sense.
But I fucking love those games. Love the story, love the world. And I was so obsessed of like when Inquisition got announced it was coming out, like creating like, you know, like every possible save state with
Just
like,
to
you know,
yeah.
all these varied saves that I was like, you know, I'm going to do like tons of Inquisition playthroughs. And I only did like 2. Just because I didn't have, dude, I spent like 200 hours on like one save
of Inquisition.
Wow. Yeah, that took me a while. That was such a really anticipated game for me.
That's a game I feel like I tried 3 times and I should like. I just never.
But and Dragon Age 2 is pretty disliked and
Yeah.
hated, but I really like it. I know it has a lot of issues. The story, like the game is a lot more actiony, less RPG than Dragon Age Origins. There's a lot of reused assets. You're constantly like going through the same maps and places, and it got made quick. So like there's reasons for that because they didn't have a lot of time to develop things.
Yeah.
And I thought the DLC was good, but like I really just enjoyed what Dragon Age 2 was, and I like the main character and the story and how it like kind of opens the Mage Templar conflict in that world that goes into Inquisition. So what's next up for you?
So I have the Mass Effect games next for me. I have 2 and 3 because I
only included 3, and I thought about this really hard, and I think 3 really culminated it for me, so that's why I included it. But go ahead.
I think 2. Well, the first one I remember, again, one of those things I remember trying and being like, as a young person and not liking it. And then I got the second one and I was like, whoa. I don't know what clicked here, but it was an interesting.
Yeah, Mass Effect 1 to 2, it's pretty different.
It's a pretty large gap, and there was just something really wild and interesting to the story. This idea of choice and consequence being so heavily throughout these games, and the games, you know, really relying on them to a degree that you just don't see even a lot still these days. Yeah, they're fantastic games. Shepard's an interesting and dynamic character in a lot of ways. I always just played. It's funny how that was a game that you could create your own Shepard, but it's like you use the regular one.
Yeah,
why aren't you just using
default?
Default Shepard? And yeah, they just did an amazing. This is BioWare still at its peak. They seem to know what they wanted to do. In
2?
Yeah, 2
Okay.
and you know 3. I know it has its issues, and I know it has its diatribes. And
I loved 3 regardless of everything.
I even going back, it's so funny. We talked about this. I played through the entire the trilogy when it was remastered.
Yeah.
And I finished the second one. And I was like, I don't know what all the fuss was about here. I think this is actually a fine game. I accept this. And then you were like, no, well, this is why blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, yeah. Now I'm remembering.
The indoctrination theory.
Yeah.
Right,
now
right,
I'm
right,
remembering why. And then it's like comes down to the thing. It's like, well, then what you were telling me makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, this obviously actually is the real ending. But then it's like, why are you even giving me a choice then at the end here to do these 3 endings? It was just some weird choices there by them at the end.
Do you remember when Mass Effect 3 came out and we were like on the bus talking about it all the time?
I don't. It's just funny.
What?
I don't remember it that much. No.
Really?
No, I don't.
Dude,
That's so funny.
we would talk like because it came out in spring,
Right.
And I remember like we spent like most of the spring like talking about.
I mean,
Mass
I feel like
Effect 3.
there's so
like,
much.
Oh,
back.
did you get to Palavin? And then like, oh, dude, Tally. I found Tally again.
Right. You know,
and I was
it's
enamored
coming
by
back
Tally.
to me now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely remember. Jesus, man. Again, I think another game that took up the zeitgeist to a degree, in a way. Not as big as, of course, a Call of Duty and as broad appeal, but
the reason I have Mass Effect 3 on this list, you know, Xbox 360, 2012, played it for 17 and 18, 2012, 2013. just the way that story ended and like the grandioseness of and the scale and the not the scale, the what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I'm sorry. The interconnectivity?
No, it's on the tip of my tongue. The
tip of the tongue, the teeth,
not
the lips.
Threat. The sense of like
doom. Maybe, no.
Oh, fuck me, dude.
It's left Gooch at a loss for words.
No,
but just while you're thinking on that, I do think even 3 kind of represents some of the worst parts of the transitioning of some of the worst transitions that we made during that time monetarily and systematically when it comes to how we add content to a game.
Oh, we have tagged on multiplayer.
And we have tagged on multiplayer, but also we have a really interesting and like meaningful party member that you have to get through pre-order. Don't you get one of like the old, yeah. Who is like, I think like very
really
important.
Key, yeah.
And I did not have him.
A lot of people boycotted Mass Effect 3 boycotted Mass Effect 3 because
and
of
like
that.
it was showing some of the worst parts of the industry transitioning into that time, and it's sad.
That word is on the tip of my tongue. I think it begins with an S. Not the scope, not the scale. It mean like I'm trying to, maybe you can help me out. So like the way the world is, and it's like, oh, like you actually feel like things are really happening, and like the
choices, like the consequences matter, or like
but like you actually feel like, you know, like you're fighting for like the end of the world.
Sure, you feel like the stakes are truly
stakes. Thank you. That was it. The stakes. There it is. That's why Trio's here, people. The stakes of Mass Effect 3 just felt so grand, and like from that intro, you know, like escaping London and the world or Earth getting attacked by the Reapers like first, and you know, Shepard like finally like. People are finally listening to him about the Reapers and like assembling, the not only the Alliance but like the galactic community as a whole, and like
what's
to try
the
to
reasoning again that the Reapers do it every 10,000 years? They just wipe out life just to restart things,
right?
Because it's like things will go awry. Is the idea is if you let it go on too long.
Yeah.
And
there's just nobody believes
right,
Shepard because it's like, nah, this isn't real.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic games. Yeah, and despite its, troubled ending that, was debated for long after, I do thoroughly enjoy those games. And replaying them recently solidified that for me, for sure.
Yeah.
I played those like in the last 2 years, I think during the pandemic.
I'm wearing my Mass Effect shirt. It was nice to play the remastered. Thank God they did that, because that was my first time I experienced Mass Effect 1 too.
Absolutely.
I totally skipped that.
I did too. Same.
Mass Effect 2, another game that Fred got that I got because of him, and he would tell me a lot about and talk about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna skip 1. And he was like, don't do that, dude. Actually, the first time I played Mass Effect 2, I remember I was my mom went on vacation and I stayed at my dad's. The very few times I've stayed at my dad's house for like an extended period of time, and I got Mass Effect 2, and I was playing it at his house and LA Noire.
Ooh.
So I was playing them like together.
La Noire.
Yeah. You just went, right?
I did.
Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, PC in 2011. Played this from 16 to 18, from 2011 to 2013. Yeah, I found Witcher before everyone else. I like to pride that. I discovered Witcher 2 when a Let's Player I was watching was playing it, and I'm like, damn, this is pretty cool. Looks like a really hardcore, in-depth RPG that I would really like.
Right.
And I think I started Game of Thrones probably in like a year or two, but like Witcher was the Game of Thrones of video games. Really mature, really sexual.
Super high fantasy though, right? Like
very dark fantasy.
Dark, you would say dark?
Say.
Okay.
Yeah, because everything's really bleak and grim.
That makes
it's not
sense.
really that happy.
Sure.
But like political, and I was really vibing with them. Like, there's no other games like this. And then Witcher 3 would kind of catapult The Witcher into like a different echelon of pop culture
and mainstream.
Now we have a Netflix show and animated shows and whatever the fuck we're getting for The Witcher. It's crazy how big it's become, but I like remember like playing it as this PC exclusive RPG that eventually came to 360, which I would like to play the 360 version and do all the achievements.
See how it is,
I don't know if I really want to replay Witcher 3 because of the scale, like on console.
I replayed Witcher 3 like 2 or 3 years ago. It might have been during the pandemic, like fully. It was the first time probably since the game came out that I did that.
It's probably when the show came out.
I think it might have been. Yeah.
Do you have any more?
I got 2 more.
Hold on. Let me see.
Those are my last 2.
Okay, yeah. Let me go to mine because our 2 will overlap.
Perfect.
Deus Ex Human Revolution. Play this on PC 2011, age 16. Fucking love it. I fucking love Deus Ex, and another game I saw a Let's Player play.
You introduced me to that.
Eventually got it. Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, dude, Deus Ex is awesome. And I think it was on Xbox, but I ended up, maybe it wasn't.
I feel like you had it on PC.
I did have it on PC, maybe it wasn't on Xbox.
I own Deus Ex on Steam because I bought it when I couldn't, my computer couldn't handle it, and I tried it the most I could.
So maybe it
and
was
then
a
I think
PC
it was
exclusive.
a PC exclusive, yeah.
Yeah, and it got ported. I actually have the Xbox port. I bought. It's funny. There's 2 versions of this game: the director's cut version and the normal launch version, and they're 2 different versions of the game. The director's cut is actually color graded differently. Because that game has a piss filter on it.
Sure.
How yellow.
Yeah.
And they kind of got rid of that in the director's cut, and it's not as cool looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fucking Human Revolution. Who knows if we're ever gonna get a third Deus Ex with Adam Jensen? It doesn't look like.
I mean, didn't he literally just say something online of
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he said whatever Deus Ex they were working on wasn't with him, so it was probably not Adam Jensen, and it doesn't look good.
See, I thought he was involved in some other projects too, and he said he's like, I'm out or something.
No,
he posted
I think he's just being real about the situation. Not that he is out,
right? But it's just
he's just he's being genuine and
this
whatever Deus Ex Embracer game they were working on,
it's gone.
was not with me,
right?
So I don't think he would lie about that at this point.
You just wouldn't say anything.
Skyrim.
I mean, what can be said?
I know.
We did a whole retrospective actually about Skyrim. With friend of the show, which I implore you to go check out.
What's up with you, Fred? You're being brought up.
Yeah, you're being brought up a lot. I love it. I mean, dude, that was a zeitgeist moment.
Yeah,
for sure. I remember going to GameStop and
everyone who's anyone got that. Did I go to the midnight launch? Is that what you're about to ask?
No, I was just gonna say there was my friend Chase Dan in high school. I remember getting there, and he was there with his mom too, and I was there with my mom, and they both were
getting Skyrim.
Skyrim. My mom was like, "Yeah, what even is this?" And we're both just sitting there
the first. I don't think I went to Skyrim's midnight launch.
I didn't either. That's before my midnight launch days.
Wait, I thought you just said you were there.
No, I went to pick it up. I'm saying just from GameStop.
The first midnight launch I went to was Portal 2.
And
that's
a good one.
For some reason, I was like, I gotta get there at 7:00.
Jesus,
to be in line for 4 hours, so unnecessary.
Yeah,
we were just standing there for a while.
It's wild, dude. The biggest one I remember is GTA 5. It was stretched from Manoa's GameStop door all the way down and around the ShopRite or whatever that grocery store that's to the right of it.
The Acme.
Yeah. It was wild.
Yeah.
And I stayed home that day.
Yeah. Midnight launches, that's a podcast in themselves, how sad they ended up getting. Yeah. How grandiose they were and how
and
little
now
they
it's
ended up getting.
Reduced
I like Skyrim. You know what, if you play video games, you kind of get it. I don't feel like going into it here is.
There's not much to be said. It's a fantastic game along a lot of the lines of Oblivion. I go back and replay it regularly, and I probably will, as I do with Oblivion, the rest of my life.
And Fallout New Vegas is sort of another one that fall into that. I feel like I had to put both Fallouts in here because I was just
I meant to add New Vegas.
New Vegas was, another one where it came out and it was just got it launched 2010. That was my sophomore year.
The DLCs were all just bangers.
Yeah, 15, 16, 2010 to 2011. Yeah, and all the DLC came out within the year. Honest Hearts. I can't even think of all the DLC names, but the Sierra Madre one. I know there's
the think tank, the big sink,
Old World Blues.
Old World Blues.
What was the last one called? I don't remember. I know it's with Ulysses.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I just can't remember the name of it.
Some in Zion National Park, which Gooch has been to.
Yeah, that was Honest Hearts with Joshua Graham.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Our One More Together. BioShock Infinite.
This is one that's interesting to me because I feel like there's been this weird kind of turnaround from some people.
Yeah, I don't understand
about
this.
like it's like bad for some reason.
Yeah,
now.
no, it's great.
It's
fucking
it's
fantastic.
absolutely I think one of my top 5, maybe top 3 games of all time in the way of
It's
like
definitely one of the best games of that generation.
easily
Yeah.
and
it's on the tail end of it.
we talked about environmental storytelling in this a little bit, but like I do think the BioShock games are kings of that. And like they use, cutscenes here and there, but like the idea of, you have these phonograms and you're listening to all this stuff as you're playing. The gameplay loop is just so satisfying in my opinion. The first person shooter aspect works so well. The what are they called in Infinite? What are your power things? Vigors. How it loops back into BioShock with Burial at Sea. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, so it's funny because I was 18 when BioShock came out and I played it, but I was 19 when the DLC came out, but I like technically I'm like
Yeah, it's in the same.
yeah.
I mean, dude,
We're
that
safe.
reveal.
Yeah, so I don't think we stated this. We stopped the games that made us we it was kind of initially like the I totally interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
We were like, there was like a childhood thing in there, so we wanted it to be like the formative years,
Right.
like everything before we're an adult. So we capped it off at 18.
Yeah.
At high school.
No, I think that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But no, Infinite is just. It's a masterclass in environmental storytelling. I know I keep saying that, but like it really is. Everything is told to you in a way that is uninterrupting and just flowing, in my opinion, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
And that reveal at the end
Right.
was one of the most mind
that
fucking.
Booker was Comstock.
Yeah.
It's just like I was really sometimes and I don't know if it's my age or it's how distracted I am by other things or how much is going on. I feel like I don't get as immersed in games as I want to anymore.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's because like some of these games or some of the last games, like I'm like I was really immersed in AC2. I was really immersed in BioShock, being like utterly infatuated and I just didn't think about anything else and like I just nonstop thought about BioShock. Just being like really into that story and like trying to get Elizabeth out of here and finding out like what that game's really about.
What's going on with like this alternative history stuff? Like,
Right. There's always a city. There's always a lighthouse. There's always a
man. There's always
yeah.
It's so good and
There's
so
I think
philosophical.
There's always
in so many ways.
There's always a city. There's always a lighthouse, and there's always
I thought you said there's always a
monster?
man and always a lighthouse.
A monster?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, because there's not always a girl.
No. And
There's no girl in BioShock 1.
just so many of the philosophical ideals just on itself that you explore in it, just between like the labor stuff and how Comstock runs Columbia versus why he like left the Union and talking about what's going on in his past
And the Boxer Rebellion stuff. That's the first time I ever heard about like the Battle of Wounded Knee. And,
Same. Like
like those conflicts that were in the early 1900s, tail end of the 1800s, like that
Definitely
really people don't talk about.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And like this whole idea of, just worshipping the founding fathers for just the worst reasons and like turning them into almost gods.
Oh, yeah.
And like, oh my God, I want to play it right now, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's
Judas
so
is going to
amazing.
be great because I mean, we've gone from the ocean floor to the sky. Now we're in space. And what does that mean?
And dude, this is again. It sounds as I feel like I saw people being like, "Oh, so this is another BioShock game or something like that." And it's like for Judas, and it's like,
yeah.
What do you want? Oh, do you want
that's
him
what
to,
it is.
And I guess
Ken Levine
some people were.
Ghost
I guess
Games.
I think some people were bringing up who was the developer who, not Cliff Bleszinski, who's like the main lead that did BioShock.
Ken Levine,
like talking about how he wanted to do something different back in the day or something or other.
I mean,
they trimmed down the fat of the team.
You've seen the first few trailers for Infinite, right? And how much it changed, and how like Elizabeth changed. Yeah.
Well, and it is weird we don't have a date for that yet. Judas, a little bit to me, but that besides the point. BioShock Infinite is another masterclass and truly formed a lot of thoughts I have about how video games can be made and how stories can be told within those games. So,
in my last one, a game that I'm really not playing anymore, and I think it's kind of changed and evolved, and I have a very interesting opinion about Guild Wars 2, and I know I've done a few podcasts about Guild Wars 2 here and there, with celebrating a 10th anniversary. Reviewed the latest expansion, not Heart of Thorns. Holy shit. Oh my god.
For Guild Wars?
Yeah, what's the latest? Jesus.
Yeah, Heart of
Christ.
Stones is
No.
Witcher.
Guild Wars
Expansion.
2 expansions is gonna kill me. The fact that I don't know this off the top of my head is wild.
God, my butt is so asleep. Ugh.
All right, well, don't slap it.
I'm trying to wake it up, man. I'm like hitting my ass.
End of Dragons. Jesus
End of
Christ. Yeah, and I haven't played the most recent one. I bought it and I didn't even play it. It was such a waste of money. Yeah, this game came out. This was like, really anticipated MMO for me. My main MMO, and I don't really even play it that much anymore. Came out on PC 2012, age 17 to now. But I don't really play Guild Wars 2 all that much. I think its time is really kind of dawned for me. I think I'm like really like I just said, I bought an expansion. I just didn't play it. I'm just not really interested in playing it right now. But getting a new MMO in that generation is one of the last old school MMOs to come out. I don't think we're gonna have MMOs like that or WoW anymore ever again because of games
Maybe
like
the
Destiny
closest thing was
like
Knights of the Republic.
even we were talking about with Red Dead, if you remember, these hybrid MMO games that come out that are like MMOs but not really.
Yeah,
that kind of create
it's
those
like a genre
worlds.
bending a bit.
Yeah, but Guild Wars was so good for a long time. But I remember the first year it came out and how magical that was. I remember playing it for a few months straight and then taking a few months off, and then from early college onward, and I know I'm getting out of my 18 zone here.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yes.
I didn't know we could do that.
You didn't fucking tell me. Yeah, just I played that all through college daily.
Yeah.
And then after I left college, I really stopped playing Guild Wars as much, and I went back and kind of played on my own terms. I think I got really jaded about the game, and I was kind of forcing myself to play it daily and doing
that's
things.
no fun.
And I'm and I went back a few times and played it on my own terms in my own way, and I was really happy with it, but. Yeah, I think my time with the game is done. I don't know if I'll have this second.
It's still running though, pretty actively.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. Another thing is sort of the social aspect. A lot of the people who I played Guild Wars with a lot are gone, and I'm not talking to those people anymore.
Right.
And they don't talk to each other.
Right.
My guild that I was running with for a while, and some behind the scenes. I think the social aspect and those people kind of being gone or have left my life in one way or another, I've put a little bit of a I go in and I play alone. I don't play with people. I play on my own. I'm not.
It's not the same.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a downer note to end the game on.
No,
but
that's all right.
that first year, man, Guild Wars 2 was a beast.
I tried to get into it. I just didn't have I didn't have a computer that could handle
I
it.
made it my mission to get everyone into Guild Wars 2.
Gooch did, yeah.
I really I made a high school Facebook page for it. I made sure everyone knew about when stuff was coming out. I just really wanted to that's the one thing with MMOs, one thing with WoW, and the one thing with Guild Wars 2 is I played Guild Wars 1 with a few friends here and there, and we played together for a while. We were younger, it was different. But then we got to WoW, and it was I had a lot of friends who played WoW that we played together for 5 seconds, and then we never played again. And either one person quit, one person kept playing. Now we're out leveled each other, and yeah, MMOs were always hard to line up with people and play consistently with people and stay together with a group, especially as you were leveling. But yeah, those were the games that in fact made me Anthony Rigucci and Chris Trio
who we are. Thank you all for joining us for this longer podcast. Actually, it's probably one of the longer ones we've done since we did. Our last one was actually pretty long too.
We're almost going for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I don't.
Thank you all so much for
not
joining
really
us.
Intended.
No. I think we kind of got into the Xbox talk and everything, so that took up probably an hour in and of itself.
We had 2 chunky beginnings.
We did.
One. Sorry, I'm
No, you're fine. But everyone, if you've been with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network, we appreciate your time as we do every day. You watch here with us. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network on all your favorite podcast applications. We're on all your favorite social medias as well. Anywhere there's an @sign, we're at Delco Nerds. We got a Facebook page, we got a Discord channel. All that good stuff will be linked down below. You can even email us your comments, questions, or concerns to delconerds@gmail.com. We'd be happy to get back to you. You can find all this information on our website, though, delconerdnetwork.com. If you could drop a like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend about us, it goes a long way. We appreciate you guys watching every episode that you do. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy. We will see you next time.